Hello, Love Wrestling. It is Thursday morning. It is 10 a.m., and that means it is another new episode of Firmly AEW right here on Love Wrestling. A big one today. We have All In this coming Sunday taking place from Wembley Stadium in London, England. And we are going to be breaking that all down for you here today. Drew and I will go through the card. We will layer in what happened on this past week of television in all these matches that we are getting right now. And we know how AEW works. They could add more matches tomorrow on Rampage. They could add more matches on Collision. That is a thing they do. But right now we have a 10-match card. So we will be going through the 10-match card. We already got Zach. We already got the Roundtable Network in the chat. Thanks for popping in. We got Scott, our man Scott, in there. First and foremost, before we dive in, as I am always accustomed to do, Drew, how are we today? How we doing, man? You ready to talk some AEW?
I am. It was a great show last night.
Oh, very good.
I'm starting to sound like Tony Khan. It was great. Everything is great. And and today, this week, we're here live, and we were on time, and I didn't affect any of those things.
True.
So that makes me
Makes me
really happy.
Baby steps over here.
If anybody needed proof, last week we were not on the show, unfortunately.
Just on Thursday. I found out just on this one.
I found out on Wednesday, the day prior, that the city was coming to install these natural gas detectors. So if you see, this is the date, last Thursday, and look at the time.
Yeah, they were like, hey, we're coming right here. Right then, baby. That's what they were saying.
And also, they didn't get here until like 10:15. So
that's fair.
They weren't on time, which I knew was going to happen. But I knew that I couldn't do the show because I would have been in the middle of the show. And then, as has happened already on the show, my bell would ring and then they would just know some.
100%.
But we're good. I hope. I mean, I'm expecting some deliveries. They might ring the bell. I don't know. They're going to have to deal with it.
My beard is being absurd right now. I don't know what's going on. But either way, so we are here, Firmly AEW. We're going to dive right into this because we got a whole hell of a lot to talk about today. As Drew said, last night was the first AEW Dynamite outside of North America. It was in Cardiff, Wales. And as we all know, just the international crowds in general, but the European crowds, they bring it. And that crowd last night, they brought it. That crowd was ready for it. It was a sold-out place. The crowd was loud. They were ready. They got a good show. And that crowd did not disappoint. And that it was a perfect lead-in until All In on Sunday, I thought, because All In, really the last couple weeks has really ramped up the stories heading into All In, especially last night with a few of them. And man, I am excited for this Sunday. It should be a really, really, really great pay-per-view. So we might as well just dive in and start talking about it. But before we do, Drew, I want to talk to you about our friends at NordVPN. You know, there is a pay-per-view on Sunday, guys. And for a lot of us, that means we have to drop $50. Cardiff, England. Yeah. Oddly enough, I cracked that joke earlier in the day, like just talking to like my friends, and they were like, it's not in England. And I'm like, I know. That's why I said it, to be funny. I know that because they get angry when you do that, because I know that about them. And then Jericho used it in the shtick, and I was like, damn it. But anyway, yes, but NordVPN. This Sunday, all in, for a lot of us, we're going to be dropping $50 for that bad boy. And then guess what? In 2 weeks, we have All Out. That's another $50. And then 3 weeks after that, we have Wrestle Dream. That's another $50. That's 150 hard-earned dollars in the span of 6 weeks. That, for everybody, not doable. Not doable. Well, did you know that if you looked into NordVPN, our friends over at NordVPN, you can change your location anywhere you are. You can change your location, and those $50 might turn into 10. They might turn into 20. They might turn into somewhere in the world might be free. Who knows? But that is just one of the many perks you can get at NordVPN. That's really for our our wrestling fans. But NordVPN, you're ever traveling for vacation, for work, anything like that, you can have your home Wi-Fi settings that you are used to, and you set up yourself with you on the road, just like that. They are also the safest VPN money can buy. You're afraid of signing on to a public Wi-Fi. That's where these hackers, these people, that's where your stuff is wide open for everybody to get on in there. They'll steal your data. They'll steal all sorts of things like that. But with NordVPN, you are always protected no matter where you are in the world. You can say you are anywhere in the world, and you can save yourself a little bit of money. Those are just a few of the great things that NordVPN can offer you. So go check out our friends at NordVPN.com. You will not regret it. I use them. Well, I've been traveling a lot these last few months doing the SummerSlam and all the other things like that. And I didn't have to change anything on any of my Wi-Fi on my phone or anything, because it was all connected to NordVPN. And it was like I never left my house. It was like I never left my house, even though I was halfway across the country. So go check out our friends. Give them all the love. Our friends at NordVPN. All right. Let's dive on in, Drew. Let's dive on in. So we got a 10-match card here. You know what? We usually talk about a match, and then we'll talk about, all right. We got our friend Tanner Lee. Okay. Here's a little promote for me. So it wasn't was it last? Yeah. Was it Forbidden Door? It's Forbidden Door, correct? Is that what we did? Me and Pluggo, Tanner Lee is a member of the Kicking Out podcast, friends of Love Wrestling, friends of me and Pluggo. They've been on our show. We've been on their show. It's an AEW podcast. We should probably link up with them here at some point, considering we are the official AEW podcast of Love Wrestling. I was over there for a Forbidden Door picks preview show, and they have a championship belt, and they put the belt up for these pick shows. It's point-based, confidence-based type picks. And Drew, I had a perfect card at Forbidden Door. A perfect card. But I was not alone. There were two other gentlemen, including Tanner Lee, who is the current Kicking Out podcast champion for the pick show. We all had perfect cards. But the rule is, not my rule, I didn't make the podcast. The rule is that if there's a tie, the champion retains. Almost like if you were to lose or win via DQ or countout, you don't lose the title. You got to be beaten. Okay?
Okay.
Perfect card I had, Drew. And then Tanner had a perfect card as well. Tanner didn't even show up. He supposedly had to go to a wedding. Supposedly. Yeah, I think he was just scared because he knew what was coming for him. But he had to go to a wedding. He wasn't even there. But he got a perfect card. I got a perfect card. And one of the other Kicking Out podcast guys got a perfect card. And I had it. And I said, all right, that's fine. And then he was showboating that he kept the title. I retained all this stuff. And I'm like, you didn't beat me, bro. You might have retained, but you didn't beat me. And so he said, all right, why don't you come back? So the three of us that had the perfect record this Saturday after Collision, over at the Kicking Out podcast crew, go follow them. I don't know if you'll get banned for doing it, but Tanner, if you want to throw your link in the chat, I know I'll allow it. I don't know if anybody else will, but you can do it. Go there, because at 10:15, right after Collision, we are doing an all-in pick show with just the three of us who had the perfect record, the perfect card for Forbidden Door, and we are going to find out truly who the Kicking Out podcast champion is. And it's going to be me, because I'm going perfect again. Because that's what I do around here. Just wanted to put that out there. So he's saying TikTok like I'm worried. I'm not worried, Tanner. I'm not worried at all. We from Boston, we used to winning. I'm not worried at all, brother. I am not. You and Shep need to be worried because I'm coming for that ass on Saturday. And that's what's going to happen. So, all right. That's it. See, Tanner's watching this now to kind of get the insight. I can't give all my secrets away here, Drew.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to
tell you. How are we rectifying this?
I'm going to tell you what I think. But Tanner needs to know if I'm being 100% honest on these airwaves because I know he's watching. And I know he's taking notes. Because there's only one way. The only way he's going to beat me is by studying because I'm just going to come in and take care of business. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Sunday Cinder knows. Tanner, I will be bringing it, bro.
Listen,
I will be bringing it.
I'm not going to say that this is going to happen, but the last time I found out about a tournament, a pick'em tournament for a championship, something happened to me. I became a different person.
Yeah.
It my used to be Big Money Drew.
That is true. That is a true statement.
It's like a Dr. Jekyll,
yep,
Mr. Hyde type of a thing.
100%.
I became, kind of had a Roman Reigns complex the last time. I don't. I'm not promising that it won't happen at some point, but now that I've found out that this tournament exists,
yep,
I might have to insert myself at some point. But I'm not.
Listen,
I'm just leaving it at that.
Listen,
that's all.
I'm going to represent us here strong. I'm going to represent Love Wrestling, and I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to go 2 for 2 with perfect cards. If he wants to say he's still the champ after that, I mean, it's not my show. It's not my show. And that's what it is. So, but that's what we're going to do. So anyway, in past, if you've been watching Firmly AEW, when it comes to pay-per-view weeks or PLEs, whatever you want to call them, I'm always going to call them pay-per-views. When it comes to pay-per-view weeks, and I assume we'll be doing the same on the Firmly WWE side, we usually go through the card and then we talk about what happened on the shows with the people in the matches that we are discussing. That's how we do it. That's how we feel like works best for us. So what I'm going to do today, just for this first one, is I'm going to talk about the match that was the opening segment of Dynamite. So the opening segment of Dynamite last night was the contract signing between oh no, Pluggo's just yelling at everybody in the chat saying he's banning people. I don't know what the hell's going on in there. No, I'm representing Love Wrestling, Pluggo. You know I'm representing Beards, but only one of us had a perfect card that night, bro. Only one of us. Get that cake up, bro. The opening of Dynamite last night was a contract signing between Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné. And they are fighting it all in for the TBS championship. Drew, I thought the opening segment was really good. I thought Britt was excellent in this segment. I thought, some of the things she was saying when she was saying that she grew up idolizing Mercedes, but on Sunday she wants to fight and beat the girl that she grew up idolizing, not the girl that's sitting across the table from her, who's a different. Very good.
So that was this was a really, really great back and forth between.
Yeah.
I did not realize that Britt Baker was that young. I mean,
she's in her 20s, right? Still,
I know she's
like late 20s.
I knew that she was in her 20s, but it didn't it just didn't register with me that she would say that she kind of did she literally say grew up watching?
I don't know the exact verbiage, but she was basically, I mean, I think she said something along the lines like, hey, this is who you are now. You're not this person that little girls were looking up to, like someone like me was looking up to. And she was like, so on Sunday, make sure you bring that girl.
They're not that far away in age.
No, I don't think
that's
so.
Why
I don't think so.
I was
but I assumed maybe it wasn't so much as like her as a little kid. It was her as like somebody that's trying to get into the wrestling business. But I would think Mercedes may be like 8 or 9 years older than her.
With very quick Googling, I found out that it turns out Britt Baker is 1 year older than Mercedes.
Wait, she's older.
Yes.
But maybe she meant like from a wrestling business
It
standpoint.
probably meant that, yeah.
Like when she was coming up in the wrestling business, Mercedes was already on WWE television doing the Sasha stuff. And I love the line where Britt said, "Yeah, you were one of 4. Well, I'm one of 1." I thought that was a good line.
Britt Baker was actually born a literal month, exact month before me.
Wow.
April 23rd. She was born in 1991.
Yeah. Yeah. Pluggo saying it's the R-Truth and Cena vibes. Yo, Johnny. Happy that you were able to join the live again. Good morning to you too, my friend. Sunday Sinner as well in the chat. What's going on? But I thought this was a really good back and forth with Britt and
my
Mercedes.
favorite line was "You were one of 4. I'm
yes.
one of 1."
Yes,
that was beautiful.
Yep. Because Mercedes, and she's not lying when she says it. She says, "Hey, when you were, just figuring out this stuff, just getting in the business, I was making history over here. I was doing things over here." Yeah, she mentioned little girls looking up to her, but then she kind of turned it around and was like, "I want to beat the girl on Sunday that someone like me," like she said, like someone like me was looking up to, or something along those lines, where I was like, is she talking about when she was like, but she said something like, "I want to beat that girl."
I'm glad I wasn't the only one confused by that.
Yeah. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. But, and then at the end, she says, things start to get heated. And Britt goes, no, I'm going to follow the rules. I know I can't touch her. I can't do all that. She goes, but then she points at Camille and she goes, but this bitch is starting to bother me. And she hits her with the microphone. And then Camille, then she throws the contract at Mercedes. Then Camille kind of ends up in front of Mercedes while Mercedes is sitting in the chair, and Britt does a jumping drop kick to Camille, and then she kind of squishes Mercedes into the chair, and then they roll out, and that's how it looked like. I was like, ooh, hopefully.
I thought the chair was going to break.
Yeah, I was like, that looked like it could have hurt. She got squished a little bit.
I think even commentary said like, "Oh, look at the chair," how the chair just didn't break from that.
Yeah. But all in all, I thought it was a really good segment. This is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most, Drew. I think this is a big money match for them. I would love this match to open the show, if I'm being honest with you. I think these two girls are going to kill it at All In. I think they both have something to prove. And I think this is going to be, Johnny, I mean, I've always been into the match, but yeah, I can 100% see that of why I thought they were both really good last night, but I thought Britt was excellent last night in this promo, and it really got me even more excited for this match. So, Drew, who do you got? Who do you got in this match? I feel like there's a few matches that are they can go either way on Sunday. They can really go either way on Sunday.
I don't know if this means anything, but with the way that they booked the show last night, they had a number of segments where champion and challenger came face to face.
Oh, it was very good. I liked it.
And only one of those challengers ended up getting the upper hand. And it was in this first segment.
Yeah.
And with Britt taking out Camille and Mercedes and then holding the title above her head. Now, legends past in a previous company, usually that would mean that person wasn't winning at the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
But before that even happened, I kind of figured that Mercedes was keeping it.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I mean, like you said, it can go both ways. I can definitely see it going both ways. I could see with either way, maybe we get a return that we've been waiting for a long time.
I don't think it's happening here. Sean Ross Sapp came out and said that Britt and her are not going to be working together anymore. So I don't know. I don't know what's
Well,
going
not
on
that
there.
they're not. It's not that they're not working together anymore, but it's that their relationship had
Yeah.
kind of.
Yes. So and he openly said he does not think they will be working together anymore because something happened. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
Talking about Jamie Hayter, by the way.
Yes, I do think that there is a strong potential we see Jamie Hayter on this show. I just don't think it's going to be in the match we're talking about right now. So I'll save my thoughts for the Jamie Hayter return when I think we get to them.
Well, I think that Mercedes is retaining.
I do as well. That's where I'm leaning. Don't get me wrong, it is Britt's first big match back. And Britt is the darling of the AEW women's division. She was the first signing of the company in general. Like, would I be 100% shocked if Britt Baker won on Sunday? Absolutely not. But I think that, I don't think this is a one match thing that we have here between Britt and Mercedes.
Also possible,
I could see this going for a little bit. A
we have All Out.
We have All Out. We have Wrestle Dream. Like, I could see this going for, 2,
Grand
3, 4.
Slam is also between Wrestle Dream and All Out.
So. Yeah. So I feel like this is not going to be a one and done situation. So I could see a very competitive match here, and then Camille kind of getting some revenge for what Britt did last night, and that maybe gives Mercedes the upper hand, and then we continue along with Britt. And again, maybe Britt does find a partner. Maybe the Jamie Hayter stuff, maybe they can put stuff aside and just do business. Who knows? Because it does make perfect sense, Drew, that Mercedes all of a sudden now has a henchwoman, a muscle in this, and then now Britt needs help. And guess what? Last time Jamie Hayter was on television, her and Britt were a team forever. Like that, it would make perfect sense for it to happen, but with the stuff we're hearing, I don't know if it's going to happen.
Which, back then, they were also teasing a breakup.
Between them. Yeah. So there's it would make perfect sense if Jamie Hayter is healthy enough to return, especially in London, where that return will be an even louder, more important pop than if it were over here, because she's from there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I think Mercedes wins, and I think this continues along. I do think Britt is maybe the best choice to take the belt off Mercedes, to be honest with you. But I don't think it's happening on Sunday. I think it drags out a little bit longer, and she eventually gets it down the line. That's what I would say.
I don't know about that. I kind of feel like maybe when her time is officially done in Ring of Honor, Athena might be the one to take it off.
Man, I'd be okay with that. But is Athena ever gonna leave? I mean, at this point, she's really the only constant on the friggin' show. Truly.
Yeah.
She's the only champion that stays on Ring of Honor for the most part. Like, she's the only one that stays over there and just wrestles on Ring of Honor. That's what I would think, Sunday Center. Like, that's what I would assume. But again, with what we're hearing in the reports, a lot of people are thinking that Britt and Jamie aren't going to be working together anymore because of whatever has occurred in their personal relationship. I don't know. I would like to think that they could, get around that because we're adults. But I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to speak out of turn I don't have all the information. All I know is what I've seen, and what I've seen was said was their personal relationship is kind of not what it used to be, and that people would, I don't know, shocked is the right word, but people would, they wouldn't be surprised if they don't end up working together moving forward. Maybe Hayter does something else. I don't know. But all right.
Which she definitely could based off of the card. So.
Oh, yeah. And that's where I think we're going to be going when we talk about it in a little bit later. All right. I mean, we don't have all the names yet for this, so we might as well talk about it now, but we are going to have a Casino Gauntlet match for a future AEW World Championship opportunity. The people that we know are in the match. So we know that 4 people are in this match right now. Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe. No, sorry, there was 5. Mark Briscoe, Evil Uno, and Hangman Adam Page.
We'll hold off on Evil Uno for now because maybe he's not going to be in the match after.
If that took him out of the match, if what happened took him out of the match, he should not be a pro wrestler anymore. Because really, like, if you can't survive that on 3 days to get into a fucking battle royal, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, I mean, that could be where the surprise entrant comes.
But there's 17 of them. There's still 17. According to
that's true.
According to Wikipedia, there's still 17 unannounced people in this. So again, a lot of those are going to be
25-man.
So no, well, maybe there's 13.
No,
is it 20? I don't know how many people there's going to be.
Well, there's 17 unannounced, and then there's 5.
According
announced.
to what I'm looking at now, there's the 5 announced, and then it says versus 17 TBA. That's what it says.
Then that would be.
But I don't know if that's accurate because it's Wikipedia. So who the fuck knows?
No, true.
But there are multiple people that are going to be in this that we don't know who they are. Now, rumor, we might be seeing one Ricochet maybe debuting in this match. I think this would be a good opportunity to debut him in.
Absolutely.
And I do think most of the other TBAs are going to be AEW superstars, like AEW contracted wrestlers.
Or it could be like some British wrestlers like Michael Oku or Tate Mayfair maybe or a couple of other people that have been on some Dynamites or Collisions.
I like Jeff Jarrett Sunday Center, but if Jeff Jarrett this says if Jeff Jarrett does not win, what are we doing? I will say we are running a good company.
Okay.
You're running a good company.
I need Jeff Jarrett doesn't win. Before
and I like Jeff Jarrett, but if Jeff Jarrett becomes an AEW world heavyweight contender, what are we doing here?
And I need hold on. Wait. I just need to preface
pro
this.
Jeff Jarrett to be, JPJ, if I'm not on the stream ain't happening, brother.
Okay.
Come on now.
So Sunday Center actually has a real life relationship with Jeff Jarrett.
I'm pro Jeff Jarrett. You've been on, I'm very pro Jeff Jarrett. He does not need to be anywhere near a world title ever again in the history of his life. Ever.
Anything Jeff Jarrett, Sunday Center is all about. That's all I'm saying.
I'm digging Jeff Jarrett. Oh, I think that's what's probably going to happen, Johnny. I think that is a strong possibility of what happens, to be honest with you. I would assume Jeff Jarrett will be involved in this match because of the Hangman situation. I assume he's going to be in there. This could happen as well, though.
Oh.
This could happen as well, especially when we talk about, at the end of the show, what we think is going to happen in the main event. Because as we saw on Dynamite, Renee Paquette was out back, and she says that she just heard that Hangman, it's not Hangman, it's Hangman, people. Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, Hangman.
She said that he had been asked to leave the building. And she was
We never found out what the exact incident was, though.
Nope. But we have Renee. She goes, I'm trying to find where I just heard that Hangman Adam Page is here, but he has been asked to leave the building. And then what do you know? Hangman's walking by. And she goes, hey, what happened? What happened? What's going on? I just heard you were asked to leave the building. And he just goes, I did what I had to do. And just so you know, I am now in the Gauntlet Battle Royal on Sunday because nothing is more important to me than ruining Swerve's dreams and taking that title away from Swerve. So I'm going to win the Battle Royal on Sunday. I'm going to become the #1 contender. And then Swerve, I'm taking your belt. So he's not even thinking about the fact that Swerve could not be champion as of Sunday. He's just in his own, nope, I need to get in this match and win this match so I can go ruin Swerve. That's what I need. And then we see Evil Uno walk by, and Hangman stops him, and Hangman goes, hey, and he says something about it, and he goes, do you know who else is going to be in this? And Evil Uno goes, oh, well, actually, and Evil Uno even goes out of his way and goes, hey, Hangman, my old friend Hangman. And then he tells Hangman that he is in the Gauntlet match as well. And then you see Hangman kind of step back from frame. He grabs a chair. He hits Uno over the head with the chair, like kind of sideways, lays him out. And then really the insult to injury is after he leaves, he drags his suitcase over Evil Uno, who's laying down on the ground. Just drags his suitcase over him. It's incredible. So we don't really know all. You all right over there? You good?
Yeah. No, I
pay
I
attention to the show, Drew. Jesus.
I saw that AEW live events tweeted out that they're going to be at. It's really sad, some of the names of these arenas. The Nutter Center.
Oh, I know that. That's a WWE. Yeah, places have been
That's in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
For Collision taping. September 12th. Yeah, Thursday, September 12th at the Nutter Center. There's an AEW Collision taping, and in the promotion, the thing. This was only 29 minutes ago. This came out. Are Bryan Danielson, who could potentially be retiring.
No, he's not. If you come on, if anybody thinks he's retiring, really? Well, they'll change that. They'll change that because only one.
I'm imagining so, but like, why put out that with those people?
As much as we are pro AEW here, what has given you the inkling that they have any idea what they're doing when it comes to promotion?
Yeah, that's a good point.
At all. They've been around for 5 years and they still don't know how to promote their fucking product. As much as I love them, they have no idea. Do you know how many times when Raw is coming to Providence, Rhode Island on Monday? Providence, Rhode Island is not even in the state that I live in. It's not far from me. It's an hour. Not a terrible drive. But it's not even in the state that I live in. Do you know how many radio commercials I've heard in the last 2 weeks promoting that Raw in Providence? No. Drew, the opposite of that. About fucking 3 dozen of them.
For okay.
Because WWE knows how to promote. When AEW is in Boston or is in anywhere for a Dynamite, do you know how many radio commercials or radio ads that is the zero.
Yeah.
That is the
I
zero.
meant that for
they
AEW.
have no idea what they are doing when it comes to that side of things.
And merchandise.
Well, the Sunday Center just said it. He just said promoting and merchandising are the two things AEW needs a lot of help in. It is insane to me, especially in a big market like Boston. If you are coming here, you should be like, what are you doing, dude? WWE, and I get it, WWE is a different scale, but like they send wrestlers to do radio interviews on all the local radio stations, whether it's over the phone, in person, virtually. There are wrestlers all like those 3 to 4 days before Raw, that Thursday, that Friday, they have WWE superstars either calling in or showing up at every major radio station in the Boston area promoting that Raw.
Yep.
AEW doesn't even do commercials for it. Like, unless you watch AEW, you have no idea that AEW is in town. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, I apologize. So again, we'll have to find out who more people are. I'm hoping for a Ricochet return. It would be very cool to see a couple other, people sprinkled in here.
So because it's probably where Ricochet is going to debut in AEW, we need hologram on this.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's on there. I think he'll be on there.
Ricochet and hologram? Holy shit.
I think they would want to get that entrance out at a big show like that. I think they would. It might be during the day, though. I don't know how that's going to. I know it's during nighttime.
I'm not even talking about. I'm just talking about the moment that the two of. It's going to be. That'll be wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So again, we'll have to see who. I'm expecting a couple surprises here, but from what we know, do we even have a favorite? Can you even have a favorite with so many? You would assume from the 5 we know that Hangman would be the favorite of those 5 when we're talking OC. Although OC though. OC, Briscoe, O'Reilly, Evil Uno, and Hangman. You would think Hangman's the favorite of those 5.
Yeah, right.
But with so many unknowns, you can't really predict who's going to win, right? I mean, I think it would make sense if you're debuting somebody like Ricochet, that Ricochet would win. To kind of be like, oh, okay, he's here and he's immediately going to go for the world title. He doesn't have to win that world title match. But like, that would be a good way to really cement somebody as, oh, yeah.
So if, I mean, when we get to the main event and what that's going to be, and I'm picking not the champion currently to win, just because I need Bryan Danielson to still be in my life. But if Swerve is still champion and Ricochet
Hangman
wins,
if Swerve is still champion, I think there's no other choice but Hangman.
well,
But
Hangman for All Out, but for maybe Grand Slam, wouldn't that be incredible?
I mean, look, Ricochet and Swerve would be spectacular,
right? Because of their history.
Yeah,
And,
of course.
Yeah. There's also Sunday Center saying maybe Ricochet debuting during MJF Ospreay. I don't, and maybe if they have like some sort of a beat that when we get to there, I have a feeling of what may happen. So let's save that.
I guess what I'm saying, like here though, if he wins the gauntlet match, his debut means something. You know what I mean? So if you're going to debut Ricochet and he wins that match, then his debut actually, which is where it gets funny because again, you have somebody like Ricochet potentially debuting in a match like this. If he doesn't win the match, then I do think his debut is like, oh, cool, Ricochet's there, but great. All right. He debuted and then lost in the match. You know what I mean? And Johnny's saying that he thinks he debuts it All Out. So maybe. I think he's debuting in this stretch here. And I agree with you. I think that's the way to do it. Especially like Drew said, when we start talking about who we think is going to win the main event. In my opinion, is if you are not picking Swerve to win the main event against Danielson and be the champion coming out of All In, then Hangman winning doesn't make sense.
See, now I like because I didn't think about this until Cinder put it in the chat. So like everybody's expecting, oh yeah, Hangman's definitely going to win this because
I don't think
the storyline with Swerve.
Yeah,
but there's the Jeff Jarrett factor,
and
Jeff might actually
screw
Hangman, cause Hangman to not win. Now the rules of the gauntlet are people just keep coming out until someone gets pinned, right?
Yeah.
So
no, yeah, you can win the match at any time. But yeah, people keep coming out. But again, at the the first, you could have the pinfall in the first two dudes, and the match is over. Yeah,
that's it's no over the top rope. It's not.
I think it's there's no elimination. It's the first.
Right. The first whoever gets the first pin is the winner.
Yeah. So I think people just keep coming out until it's over. Like I don't think is there a finite. And the ones that they've done before, have they said this is the last entry? So it's until I think people just
I don't think so. They've only done this like 2 or 3 times.
I think this is the third one, I want to say. But yeah, they just keep coming out until somebody pins somebody.
I think this is, the rules are a little murky, but I think this is a really, really fun concept. That's an AEW specific thing. Mixing like a Royal Rumble with a gauntlet match.
According to what I'm reading, it says the Casino Gauntlet match is a modified version of the Gauntlet Eliminator. 2 wrestlers begin the match with new entrants coming in at timed intervals with a maximum number of 21. It is a one fall match that can end at any time via pinfall or submission inside the ring before the entire field is entered.
Right.
So it maxes out at 21. So I think that's why they put the 17. Well, that's bad math. But there should be 16, really, because they've announced 5. So I think it should be. That's why I think they put that number there, because they're assuming there'll be 21 people.
Right.
That's what they're assuming. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
You know what? Sunday Center's got it. That last comment that he just did. That makes a lot of sense. Because I had a thought that potentially Hangman screws Swerve out of the match at All In, not because he wants it's not because the whole thing between them is never really been that one or the other wants the title. It's that they just want to kill the other person.
Yeah.
Because we know that in the match, the triple threat between Swerve, Hangman, and Joe,
Yeah.
Hangman tapped out because it meant that Swerve wasn't going to win.
Yes.
So,
He cared more about Swerve not winning than himself winning.
So for Hangman to come out and kind of like cost Swerve the match, even though he has, if he were to win the gauntlet or not, well, sorry, if he were to win the gauntlet, it's not about him taking the title off of Swerve. It's about him ruining Swerve's life.
Yeah.
So in the big moment where he's seen that Swerve thinks that defeating Bryan Danielson is very important to him, he takes that away from him.
Yeah.
It's just that, it's from what I've seen from Hangman and Swerve, it's that the title doesn't really matter. Now, I know in the promo he did say he wants to take the title off of Swerve. But by interfering in that match, he's technically also taking the title off of Swerve. The title is just not going to him.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I know we're kind of getting off tangent here, but he's like, the problem is with Swerve and Hangman is what kind of match do you even have? You have the match that failed with Moxley and Omega. You have an exploding barbed wire death match, but you actually have it the proper way. I think Mike from Indeed has been saying this for like 8 months.
Yes, that's right. I remember
our buddy Mike from Indeed has been saying this for 8 months, but he goes, the way that should end is with an exploding barbed wire death match, but actually have it do the thing, whatever. But all right, let's continue along, because we are going to talk a lot about the main event and what could happen, but I don't want to talk about it now a lot. And I know Hangman, we're going to talk about it because Hangman is a factor. But all right, let's move forward. We do have a mixed tag team match happening here. Mixed tag matches at both All In this week and Berlin next week. We're getting some mixed tags. I love a good mixed tag. It is Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway. This doesn't seem fair to me, Drew. It's Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway taking on Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii. However, there is a stipulation. The winning team will choose the stipulation between Willow and Statlander for their one-on-one match at All Out. So whoever wins this mixed tag will be able to determine what stipulation they have for their one-on-one kind of grudge match at All Out. It is not fair. You think that is not true. That is not true. Stokely doesn't even friggin' wrestle, bro. He's Ishii and Willow could flick Stokely Hathaway and he'd go 100 yards. That's how. Flick him. With that being said, though, even though it isn't fair, I think Statlander and Stokely will win. You could go against the trend, but I always feel like when it comes to winning, when picking a stipulation and stuff like that,
it's more of a heel thing.
The heels are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
Although in a situation like this, though, where this has been going on for a while, and like Willow is the one that got turned on, I think it kind of might make sense for Willow, the good person, to be like, okay, now you can't do your bullshit. I won. We're doing this. That's happened before. But I don't know. I just feel like Stokely and Statlander are going to have something up their sleeve. And they're going to get the best of them here. And then they're going to pick whatever the stipulation. I do think Willow wins the one-on-one at All Out. But we'll talk about that when we get there in a couple weeks. But I do think Willow wins the one-on-one. I think the bad guys win this. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Something is going to happen that Willow or Ishii are going to be distracted or whatever. And I think that probably, I mean,
it's a glaring,
isn't going to get the victory.
It is a glaring mismatch, Drew. It is a glaring.
It's glaring, yeah.
Mismatch. There is one wrestler on one team and two on the other. That's what we're doing here.
Well, so Stokely's barking didn't do it for you on
No, I
Collision?
love Stokely Hathaway. He's hilarious, and I like him. And I like him. But Stokely Hathaway is not a. I mean, he might have on the end, but he's not a professional wrestler. He is a manager. He is a yeah. And then
He was
Willow is
never a wrestler, right? He was
he
always a
might have been
manager.
on the Indies. I honestly don't know. But in the Stokely Hathaway that I have seen on television in both companies, he has never been a wrestler. He is a
So
manager.
he was involved with there was an Evolve show that I went to. I believe it was the first one that I saw Orange Cassidy at, because I think him and Orange Cassidy were involved in a storyline on the Indies.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Um,
Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he wrestled a little bit like in the Indies when he was coming up and then found, that wouldn't shock me. How do most managers become managers? Is it because they were wrestlers and they were like, oh, I kind of found my niche, a lot of them?
right. Yeah,
You
it
know?
could be. I don't know of him as a wrestler at all because
Yeah.
ever since I've known of Stokely, he's always been a manager.
Yeah. I'm not doubting that, Center. I'm not doubting that at all. I'm just saying they're having a wrestling match on Sunday, and I never seen this bitch wrestle. So I think that Statlander and Stokely are Sean said yesterday he's had about 50 matches. All right, fair.
Oh,
That's fair.
okay.
But again, in the way that I am viewing this, from what I have seen with Stokely and AEW, is he is not a wrestler. He is not a wrestler in this match.
And even in WWE.
Yeah, he has very much been presented as a manager here. So I'm sure he's had matches in the independents and kind of coming up along in the business. But as far as my eyes tell me, he is not a wrestler. He is the only non-wrestler in this match, which obviously puts Statlander and him at an extreme disadvantage, which is why I'm picking them to win this match. That's why I'm doing that. So, all right, let's continue along. So, last night on AEW Dynamite, we saw Chris Jericho take on the Dynamite. Are they calling him straight up the Dynamite? They're not calling him the Dynamite Kid, are they? Are they?
They called him the Dynamite Kid last night.
Dynamite Kid, right? Is it Billington? Tommy Billington?
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were just calling him Dynamite Tommy Billington or if they were actually calling him the Dynamite Kid, because obviously that name had been taken before. But he had a match with Jericho last night. It was a good match. It's a good match between him and Jericho last night. And then we saw after the match, Jericho was talking some trash about Hook because he thought Hook wasn't there. And then Hook showed up. And Hook got in his face and was basically mouthing to Jericho, do something about it. And then we saw Big Bill attack Hook from behind and give him a monster choke slam.
Yeah.
Monster choke slam and laid Hook out. But this Sunday, FTW Championship, once again, Chris Jericho defending against Hook. If Hook loses, he can never challenge for the FTW Championship again so long as Jericho is champ. What say you, Drew? What say you?
I don't know. This one's another one where it can really go either way.
I hope not.
Well,
we don't need this continuing. This should be the end of this.
I heard about something that happened on Collision.
Oh, because they taped Collision, right? They taped Collision for Saturday.
Collision already.
I have not read anything that happened for Collision yet. I mean, I don't care if you want to. I mean, I don't know if people in the chat don't want to hear. I don't know.
I'm not going to spoil the match.
Yeah.
But it turns out Big Bill is very over.
Oh, yeah. I did see some people on social media saying, like, Big Bill, Big Bill. Is that you vibrating or is that me vibrating?
Yes.
I just hear a. Can you tell the people that you're doing a show?
No, it was my dad's phone.
Okay, fair.
So
that's why I'm just like, let the 10 to 12, you're busy.
Yeah.
You're busy.
So I don't know anymore. Well, I mean, you can't retire a belt that doesn't even
I mean, they're having
in the
matches for it,
grand
Drew.
scheme. In the
They're having
grand scheme of AEW, it's not a technical AEW title. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like,
oh, he thinks they're going to be a new member. Johnny thinks there's going to be a new member of the Learning Tree that costs Hook.
Who could be? Who could
I don't know.
I wonder.
And then we got Sinner saying Jericho has killed Hook's momentum enough. Time for him to move on to the next guy who is getting too over for Jericho to leech off of. However you want to put it.
I want Hook to win.
I want Hook to win and then retire the FTW belt, like Scott said. Like, just get it off. If it doesn't count, why are we having segments and matches for it? If it doesn't count, why? Again, I'm an ECW kid. I like the FTW belt, not the for the world, the fuck the world, the original ECW Taz. And I like Hook being involved with it because it's his dad. I like all that. We do have Sinner saying that he thinks Taz gets involved. I would like that, but Taz is so physically, he can't.
If Taz hasn't gotten involved at this point,
yeah, like that's the thing with me. Like, Taz is so physically limited because of the naked, like just his history, that I would love to see Taz get involved. That would make perfect sense for him to do that. I would love to see him get involved, but I don't know what he can do because I don't think he can take any bump. Like, I don't think he can. But in a perfect world for me, Hook wins, and then he retires this belt, or he just says, yeah, that's it. I'm the FTW champion. The belt is going out with me as the FTW champion, and we kind of move on from here. Because I think, as much as I want this to be over with Hook getting the better of Jericho and just moving on, I just want Hook. I don't want Hook clinging to this belt either. Because again, yes, Hook was over, but like, I don't know. I just feel like there's limitations with things. And how far are you really going to go with the FTW belt? Honestly, Johnny is saying that Bandito is his pick for the new member of the Learning Tree. I mean, again, I'm not against the new member of the Learning Tree if you're going to try to make it a bigger thing. But then again, if a new member comes and costs Hook, that tells me that this ain't going anywhere. Wouldn't Hook then be like, you screwed me again, I'm coming? And I just think this needs to end.
Well, but technically he can't because Chris Jericho.
Oh, that is, yeah, I guess. But could he still feud with them though, even though he's not going after the FTW belt? Do you think, like, let put it this way: if they had this match on Sunday and Hook gets screwed and loses, I know the stipulation, but like, do you think it would be good for Hook's character to just be like, okay, and just not have anything to say or be angry or go back after him getting screwed? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Hook. There was the story that came out earlier in the year that Hook wanted to pursue free agency.
Correct.
His contract was done.
Mm-hmm.
Now nothing really has come out since then.
Nope.
But him not winning here makes me go,
Yeah.
Does that mean that was true?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we do not have a confirmation on whether that was true or not. But that was reported heavily a couple months ago. And if his contract is coming up, this is his last big time match. If he loses, I don't know.
This is a factor too. I know
Joe's.
I know he's been away filming stuff, but I don't know if he could get I don't know. I agree with Sinner though. I don't see Hook losing. I just don't. I think Hook wins it here, and this kind of goes. This is the end of the Jericho Hook thing.
Nothing will surprise me in the Jericho vortex.
Sure. Our buddy Asian Joe from the Mark Order Pod says his fantasy booking is that Hook wins against Jericho, wins back the FTW title, then presents it to Taz, and they officially retire it. So Hook can move on to other things. I would agree with that. I think that is a good way to go about it. I do feel like they use the FTW belt to kind of get newer guys over with Team Taz and stuff like that, and it's kind of stuck around. But they've always said, like you said at the beginning of this, Drew, it's not a real AEW recognized championship. So I at some point, you know, and Affilia's saying that Joe did say he has some breaks built into his filming. So maybe this is one of them. So he can show up in England. Who knows? I think one thing is for certain, and what we agree with at the very least, Drew, is that we are ready for this to move on. We're ready for this to move on to the next.
Since like March, they've been feuding.
We have a 4-way London ladder match for the AEW World Trios Championships. Now, on my screen, I have the 4 teams laid out. So I already know. I know going into Dynamite, and when Dynamite ended, there was a mystery 4th team. They announced the mystery 4th team, I believe, during Collision or Rampage, whatever one they were taping. I think they taped it all. So I'm going to lay out the 4 teams. We have the champions, the Patriarchy, against the Bang Bang Gang, which is Juice Robinson and the Guns, versus the House of Black, and the 4th team that we haven't found out yet is Pac and the Blackpool Combat Club, who is Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. That's a good fucking team right there, bro. That's enough. So now the Lucha Brothers are gone. So there's no Death Triangle anymore because they would have fit in here perfectly.
Yeah.
But they're gone. So now we see Pac kind of being thrown together. Now we do know that Pac will have a championship match for the international/American champion with whoever wins that match that we'll be talking about in a little bit. But for this one, it seems like, you know what I wanted them to do, Drew? I wanted them to just run back Okada and Claudio on Saturday, because that match last night on Dynamite kicked all sorts of ass. And the way that it ended, there was really no winner. I would have just loved if they just went one-on-one and ran it back. Sunday Sinner, he sure did. He sure did. Oh, they
sorry for the spoiler alert.
Wow.
We just pulled I was watching the Spotlight before this, and Steven Jensen just blurted it out. This is like,
yeah.
Jeremy Lin was like, "What? That wasn't reported. You know, that was not out yet."
Yeah. Look, I'm just gonna say what I have, and that's what we have. So,
yeah.
Again,
I don't like this.
I mean, I don't mind. It's gonna be a fun match.
It's fine. It's just something else is going on, and I don't know what that something else is, but I'm a little worried about it. Jon Moxley hasn't been around in a while.
Yeah, he's getting that vacation he was supposed to get 2 years ago.
And Pac with the BCC instead of Moxley with the BCC. There's like I don't know. I don't know if something is going on there. I've seen tweets alluding to Moxley maybe not being happy right now or something. And, he hasn't been on TV since he lost the title at Forbidden Door.
An awful match, too. It was a really bad match at Forbidden Door. That was the worst match of the night, oddly enough. And Moxley usually doesn't have worst matches of the night. That's not what he does.
So I don't know what's going on there. I just know that I'm not reporting anything. I'm not saying that there's definitely something going on. I'm just saying I've seen tweets from the people who tweet.
The people who tweet? Yeah. Who are they? I'm people who tweet. I think we're all people who tweet.
Right.
Are you talking real people? Like real people? Like people in the know?
Real people who tweet cryptically and who have information about certain things.
Fair.
I've seen people alluding to Moxley and him not being happy right now. So again, I don't know if that's true.
Well, you know what that means, people. WrestleMania 41, baby. Dean Ambrose coming back. Let's go. Reunite him against the Bloodline.
Also, I don't like that this now literally confirms that Lucha Bros are gone. We kind of knew already.
Confirmed, right? For the most part,
we kind of knew already. But it would have been nice to like maybe see that they resign and come back. But
I'm actually again. I know we talk about both now, so we can we always skirted the lines, but I'm kind of pro Lucha Brothers going to WWE. What else can they do in AEW? They've done everything. They've been the tag champions. They've been the trio. They've done everything they can do. And AEW clearly has issues in the tag team division right now. They don't give a fuck about their tag team division currently. They really don't. Like, I know they're doing the triple threat, which we're going to talk about, and blah, blah, blah. And they ended the show last night with a terrible fucking segment. But over the last year or so, oddly enough, the Bucks were like the hottest, in my opinion, the hottest they ever were when they won the tag belts with their new characters and stuff like that. And then they've done jack shit with the tag team division since they won the belt. So for Lucha Brothers, I think it makes sense for them to go to WWE because they're going to be over immediately. And WWE currently right now, I feel cares about their tag team division more than AEW does.
WWE does this thing where if you're of a certain makeup, you end up being tied to people of your same kind.
That's fair.
So, if Lucha Bros do end up going to when they show up on WWE, because it's happening, I don't want them to just be LWO fodder.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't think they will be. One thing, listen, to me, there's a difference between.
It's possible they go to NXT also.
Yes. And they have Motor City Machine Guns that coming soon too. Like, I mean, come on now. I understand where that sentiment comes from because it is true. But I do feel like more of that was on a previous regime than the current one, even though it still happens. But I do think there's a difference. I do think there is a difference between throwing someone like Dragon Lee or throwing someone like that who the general public doesn't know with a group with Rey Mysterio to establish them and stuff like that. I just feel like when it comes to the Lucha Brothers, they're coming in as a known commodity. Not to everybody that watches WWE, but I would say to the vast majority of wrestling fans, the Lucha Brothers are a known commodity.
And we'll see how many people on Twitter call them ex-AEW guys.
Yes. And again, I don't know if are they going to be coming in?
It's a problem when they go from WWE to AEW, but then seemingly it's not a problem when they go from AEW to WWE.
Yeah.
That's
Johnny,
tribalist bullshit out there.
I did see this where it seemed like Penta was kind of already heading to Orlando, but they didn't know about Ray. I don't think that's going to happen. They're not going to do that. I think if Toni does that to me would be a huge detriment towards Toni and AEW. Because if I'm a wrestler and I look at, hey, Ray Phoenix has been an AEW guy since day one. He's won singles championships, trios, tag championships. He's been injured multiple times doing high spots for your show.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
He clearly makes a decision that they want to go somewhere else. And if you were going to do that just to keep him there, to me, that would put TK and like if I'm another wrestler, that would not make me feel great. That he's going to play hard ass with one of the guys who helped build that company. I don't think that would look good. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to let him go. I think that's the smart thing to do because you want to show to everybody that like, hey man, like, that's what it feels like because that's what they used to do all the time. That's what WWE did all the time. And that's what it would feel like to me. And you know what? AEW was built on not being him or like that. So I think it would not be great. But all in all, Drew, I mean, look, it's a 4-way ladder match with 12 really talented dudes. This match is going to be wild. There's going to be insane spots. It's going to be nuts. But again, I think the patriarchy retains. I don't see Christian and the gang losing.
I'm not really thrilled about it only because of this Pac Blackpool Combat Club thing is just so random. And Sinner reminded us last year, he walked out on BCC and now all of a sudden he's teaming with them. And also Claudio is still really kind of involved with Okada. Wheeler just came back from injury and he's not really involved in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Danielson is off doing something else. Moxley is MIA. It's like, first, I don't even call them Blackpool Combat Club anymore because they have not existed as a unit for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just been, when Yuta was out, it was those three sometimes, but mostly Moxley doing his own thing and Danielson doing his own thing. And then Yuta comes back, Moxley's nowhere to be found. Danielson's doing his own thing. It's just it doesn't, it's not there is no Blackpool Combat Club. The name should have went when the originator of the group left 2 years ago. So it just doesn't really make sense to me why nobody in the group is from Blackpool.
It's fair.
They're not even European.
Well,
so why are they
Swiss,
still being
right?
called?
Isn't Claudio European?
Oh well, Claudio's European, yeah. I meant
But yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I
meant English, not European.
Yeah.
Nobody in the group is English. Nobody in the group is from Blackpool.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
As much as I love the group, it was my favorite thing in the company upon its start.
Mm-hmm.
And the inclusion of Claudio and the inclusion of Yuta.
Yeah.
But they just haven't been Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah.
For a while.
It is fair. Who knows? Maybe we see, I know you said you got some tweets of people who are saying certain things, but maybe we see a certain someone return this weekend or by All Out or things of that nature potentially. Who knows? I do think Moxley not being on the show has been glaring. I think it's been glaring. Moxley not being there. He, to me, when you look at the history of the company, to me, Jon Moxley for me is Mr. AEW. Like, he's the guy. He is the guy. And he hasn't been there since June, and I think it's been noticeable. But we are getting to, like, really, this is the stretch here, all in, all out. Like, this is the main stretch of the year. So it would be nice to see him back. He has earned all the time off that he wants, though. He has earned it all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if he wants the time off, he wants to be, like, he has earned whatever he wants. But in my opinion, the show, even though I think AEW's had an uptick here the last, month to 6 weeks, and the shows have been better and they're really tracking on a good way, in my opinion, Moxley not being there it's noticeable. It's noticeable. All right, we'll continue along. We have a coffin match for the AEW TNT Championship. We saw these two fellas involved in the main event last night. There was a trios match to end the show. It was Darby Allin teaming with FTR against the Elite, which was the Young Bucks, and not Jungle Boy anymore, Scapegoat Jack Perry. Good trios match to end the show. Chaotic, but really fun. We saw Darby and FTR get the victory last night. Darby hitting the coffin drop on, I believe it was Matt Jackson, to get the victory. This match should be good. Listen, Darby Allin set Jack Perry on fire, bro. Set Jack Perry on fire not too long ago. Tried to set him on fire in the Blood and Guts match again. They've been going kind of back and forth here. These are two of the four pillars, if you all recall and remember. These are two of the four pillars of AEW, and they are fighting for the AEW TNT Championship. I think I'm leaning that Jack Perry retains.
This is going to be Darby's first coffin match loss.
Yeah, because he's undefeated in the coffin matches. Do we think that this we have to assume with the Elite that this is there is some shenanigans that occur, or do we think that Perry just beats him straight up?
I think he beats him straight up.
I would not be opposed to that. I think it would do a lot of good for Perry to beat him straight up
in a match of
this match, this is Darby's match, right? Kind of thing. Like, he's undefeated in coffin matches. You know, I'm expecting this match to be one of the standouts of the night. I think these two are going to kill it. Here. Coffin match can be kind of, hit or miss sometimes, but I feel like these two are going to really knock it out of the park here. But I'm leaning towards Jack Perry retaining.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way
He
around.
He made his own unique TNT title. That was really cool to watch. I don't know if you saw the video of him making
Yes, he actually made the bell. Yeah, that was very cool.
It just was like, okay, so he made that and then he loses it immediately. That doesn't make sense.
No, and I saw some reports over the last couple days that there has been internal discussion of like Darby Allin having a heavyweight title run here at some point. There you go. Oh God, Johnny says, do we see Shane O'Mac involved at all in either elite match, becoming the new leader of the elite? I hope fucking not. But I mean, you never say never. You never say never in pro wrestling. But I don't need Shane McMahon on my television screen ever again. If he wants to go work out back,
hold on. Wait. What? Ever again? Really?
Yeah, I don't need to see him in the
you
ring.
Don't. Well, I mean, but you think I kind of feel we haven't really like touched on Shane McMahon that much.
I think Shane McMahon would be a perfect hire for AEW for a behind the scenes aspect. You want to be like Tony's consultant. You want to be Tony's right hand man. You want to keep the peace. You want to teach Tony how to be less of everybody's friend and more of a boss, and how to run a proper company and stuff like that. That's where I think Shane McMahon, that's where his wheelhouse is. I have no interest, not 1 ounce of interest of seeing Shane McMahon in a segment, in a match, anywhere. And that's on all companies. That ship has sailed, brother. You want to show up and do a one-off, wave to the camera, kiss a baby, and say, hey, I'm here. Fine. I'm cool with that. I don't need to see you wrestling ever again. Last time you couldn't even do a fucking leapfrog. You did a leapfrog and your leg exploded.
I would not want to see him wrestle.
But
absolutely not.
That's what people. Again, what you talking like an authority figure role? How many times have we seen him do that? I don't need to see him. What's going to be different because it's on AEW? I just behind the scenes help clean the shit up, because there's clearly still behind the scenes issues at AEW. Like they need somebody to be like wrangling shit together and making sure the company's running effectively. Shane is perfect for that. He knows how to be involved with multi-big company like that. He's perfect for that. I have no interest in seeing that guy on my television screen as a character, as anything. Currently, I don't need it.
Okay. I mean,
that's my personal opinion. And I like Shane.
I wouldn't hate him being like the big financial backer of the elite. In like some meta, version of the elite trying to take down the company that they created, and what better person to use.
But hasn't that story,
McMahon?
Isn't that story dead at this point? It's dead at this point.
Dead how? What do you mean?
I can't even remember the last, like when I don't think the elite are coming from an angle where they're trying to kill AEW anymore.
They're throwing their weight around, and
they are, because they're the EVPs. But is it really from a nature of we want to take? Like I feel like they did that segment with Toni. They tried to take over AEW for a month or two. They had the Anarchy in the Arena. Then they had the Blood and Guts, which they lost. And then I feel like that whole thing is dead now. I feel like Christopher Daniels is just another dude who comes out and does stuff. Like I just feel like they're not even, I don't know. It's weird. Because and we talked about it here, when that happened, it was like, oh damn, they're doing this type of money segment here with like, they took out the boss and all this stuff. And then it just was so anticlimactic. And I feel like it's not even at the figure point. It's not even part of the shtick anymore. Yeah, they're throwing the weight around and they're being dickheads because they're the EVPs, but they're not trying to like take over the show anymore. The beginning of Dynamite isn't their video anymore.
Right.
They're not cutting segments anymore. They're not that's sailed to me. Now they're just the dickhead elite, which is fine. I like that. I like the elite. But that whole we're trying to take over this company thing has, to me, that feels like it's not even part of the gimmick anymore. Now they're just being dickhead AVPs who are throwing their weight around, but they're not throwing their weight around to like try to take over the show like they were, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see that. I understand that. But maybe the inclusion of Shane McMahon revitalizes that.
That could happen. That could happen. And again, I don't think it's a bad idea for Shane McMahon if it made sense and everyone was on board. Hiring Shane McMahon is not a bad move at all. The dude made a lot of money creating his own businesses in Japan, his own pay-per-view company in Japan. He clearly grew up in the wrestling business. You know, the guy's a piece of shit, but Vince McMahon made WWE what it was because he was a smart businessman when it came to running a wrestling company. Shane grew up in it. I'm sure Shane got a lot of knowledge from his dad from a business perspective. It would be very smart for Tony Khan to bring Shane in for some sort of business partner, consulting partner, whatever it's going to be. I just personally, it does not, maybe I'm not going to say it would be bad, but it does nothing for me about when I think about Shane McMahon being like a weekly or bi-weekly character on my AEW show. Like that does not get me excited at all.
No, but definitely no wrestling for sure. That guy should never be in wrestling in a ring again.
Correct.
Having him as like this, you know, I don't want to like harken back to this, but like a billionaire versus billionaire thing, like, you know, Trump and Vince, you know, I don't want to. I don't want there to be too much focus on authority figure type stuff for sure.
I agree.
We see that way too much. And it's still, I mean, it's still a thing on WWE. It's just that the authority figures are on heels now, like they've been for many years in the past. But I don't need, it's like the inclusion of authority figures in storylines has to be done very particularly in order for it to actually work.
100%. 100%.
But I do see Jack Perry winning. For sure.
I do too. And since we were just talking about the Bucks, I mean, there's probably no better way to just slide on over to that match because they were also involved in the main event of Dynamite last night. We now have a triple threat match. We had the number one contendership match that was supposed to take place on Collision, and it did take place, and it was a good match between the Acclaimed and FTR. They were having a good little match. But it obviously ended in disarray, which then led to this.
Oh no, that wasn't a the tag match was on Collision.
Yeah, it was on Collision and determined the number one contender between the Acclaimed and FTR, right?
That went to a draw.
And that went to a draw. It was a good match.
Last night was Darby and FTR versus the Elite, and then the Acclaimed came out afterwards.
Yeah. So again, we had the number one contendership match that was supposed to happen on Collision. It happened, but was a draw, so they made it a triple threat. And that's what we have here on Sunday, is a triple threat.
And I honestly didn't even agree with that. I was like, listen, we weren't on the air last week.
No, but I knew that's where they were going. Once they announced that bullshit last week, I was like, this is going to be a triple threat. 100%. That's what
we knew that.
Yeah.
But FTR should not have been rewarded.
Correct.
For causing the DQ in that match.
Yeah. And I know I ended up talking about it on the Mark Order pod because we didn't have a show and I was on there at the end of Dynamite last week. That was the most not like from a character perspective. FTR are supposed to be like the pro wrestlers. They are the best tag team of all time. They're that is who they are. Why on earth? That was the most anti-FTR thing that I've ever seen them do last week's Dynamite. Going in there and causing FTR would never do that.
And of course, they didn't intentionally cause it, but
still, they wouldn't even go down there.
Right? Yeah, there was no reason for it.
It was literally like the most anti-FTR thing that they could ever do was go down there, whether it's on purpose or not, and get involved in this highly contested match for the titles. By the way, get involved and then cause it. FTR would not do that. No, they just wouldn't do that. It was nonsense. And then it led to the match on Saturday, which again, that was a good tag match. Good tag match between the Acclaimed and FTR. Real damn good tag match. And they have the draw, which I'm not even against the draw. Thought it was well done. I was fine. But dude, FTR wouldn't do that. FTR wouldn't do that last week. I don't know why they did. Well, I know why they did, because they just needed a way to get to this. It is a triple threat match. We do have look at this. We got our pal Maggie popping in here. Glad to see you, Maggie. Thanks for popping in and saying hi, and I appreciate the compliment. I want to say the Bucks retain here. One thing I know for certain is I don't believe the Acclaimed are winning. I think this is either going Bucks or FTR. I wouldn't be shocked if this is, and we've been kind of pining for it for a little bit here, but do you think that if they lose on Sunday, this really starts maybe the breakup of the Acclaimed? Because I know they've been teasing it for a while.
So I got this thing, I forgot I had it up here. So I got the,
what is that?
This is
a Trapper Keeper?
This is the Acclaimed. I haven't opened this yet. This is the first time I'm doing this.
Oh, action figures. All three of them.
Yes.
That's pretty good. Though. That's all right. That's pretty good.
They have different really heads. Cool. This is from Ringside Collectible. This is the first time I opened it.
It looks really good. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. Eventually, when I have a normal setup again.
So Bowens and Caster both have additional heads you can put on.
Yes.
But Billy Gunn just comes as is there.
Billy
Gunn hat on him, also, I guess.
There's 3 scissor hands on the bottom there.
Oh.
Over here.
So you can put you can put the
you can put it on all their hands.
Got it.
Bowens and Caster have mics.
Okay.
Don't believe. No, yeah, Billy's doesn't have. Oh wow, this is so cool. Yeah, I think Billy's head looks good.
Yeah, I know. I just noticed that he doesn't have an alternative head.
Can't even really see it that great because of my monitor. But it comes with headphones for Max. Max has a different head. Bowens has a different head. There's the scissor hands and a little Acclaimed, two Acclaimed hats.
There we go.
Yeah, that's a really nice setup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't show this because I was going to say Acclaimed are going to win. I don't think that the Acclaimed are going to. Oh, here's the back also.
Yeah. That's fair.
I don't think that the Acclaimed are going to win, it's funny. I bought that. There's kind of a possibility at some point they end up splitting. I don't know if it's going to be listen. I have been since Forbidden Door. I've been saying it's kind of looking like Max is going to split and turn heel.
Yeah.
Now Johnny Max Caster's been calling himself the best wrestler alive for a long time.
A bit now.
Yeah. So yeah, I know you are a figure snob there. But it's I don't know. I don't know if a split ever honestly happens. not gonna predict it anymore because every time I think it's happening, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I do genuinely like them as a group. Now, Max Caster, Max Caster's got to cut the rapping because holy crap, it's just not good lately.
Yeah.
And the last one that he did was awful. It was genuinely awful.
I thought the match last night to end Dynamite, the 6-man match, the trios, was a great match.
Yes.
I thought what happened after this match was as flat can be. Like it was, I'm like Billy Gunn had that last line that he does, and the crowd didn't even fucking respond to it. They didn't even like it was like as dead as it could be.
That's because that's an American crowd thing. It's not.
Yeah.
When wrestling companies travel, when American wrestling companies travel abroad, a lot of the things that the American crowds do, the abroad crowds do not do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like, well, I mean, perfect example. Jay Uso's entrance in France now has changed the way that American audiences do Jey Uso's entrance.
It's fair.
So usually it ends up one will influence the other. It's really like with the Acclaimed. I really like them, but there's got to be a split.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. That's fine. There's lulls, and I think they, like Sinner says it, last year they were the most over tag team in the company.
Oh, when they won the trios titles, they were hugely.
It was huge. Earned. They deserved it. They got themselves over. They got themselves in that position. And I think they've been kind of just doing the same thing for a long time, the same shtick, the same get up. And eventually,
this didn't come with titles, did it?
No.
I just realized that.
And eventually things wear off. And I think the crowd, they still cheer for them. And I think, but I just think things wear off. And I think the Acclaimed have, like, the overness has clearly worn off. And I think they're due for a change. Again, like,
maybe they both turn heel.
I was going to say, maybe they turn heel as a trio, or maybe they turn heel on Billy and Billy gets out of there and they turn heel. There we go. Maggie saying, I would have been booing with you. I preferred the House of Black to win. I wouldn't mind the House of Black winning that trios 4-way, to be honest with you. I don't think they're gonna, but I wouldn't mind it. I love the House of Black. But yeah, I just think they're due for a change, whether that is a breakup and they go separate ways, or maybe it is them turning heel and getting the crowd to not cheer for them anymore. And then, I just think they need a change because the shtick has been going on for a long time, and I think the shtick is worn out. It's just worn out.
And everybody. I mean, they've been acting kind of heelish since FTR inserted themselves in this.
Yeah, oh yeah. Even Bowens has been very aggressive towards FTR, which they have the right to be, because it's not. FTR has no business being involved here. They really don't. The only reason they got involved was because they think they're the best tag team in the world, and they have they had no business getting involved whatsoever with this thing that was going on.
And Christopher Daniels, by way of Tony Khan, did not need to reward them by inserting them essentially in this match.
I would agree,
because obviously they were gonna do the draw. It all happened sort of this way. There could be a trios match here, but it's there was no reason for FTR to get anything out of this except scolded for interfering in a title match.
100%.
But having said all that, I do think that the EVPs are going to retain.
Yeah, I mean, I would lean towards the Bucks retaining here. I could see FTR winning though. I really could. But I do think the Bucks do retain here. I do think that makes the most sense as we move forward here. All right, Drew. Oof. 3 matches remain. We have for the AEW Women's World Championship match, we have timeless Toni Storm, who we saw defend her title last night on Dynamite against the home continent, because Wales is not part of England. Wales is not part of England, guys. Wait, is Saraya from England or Wales? She's from England. She's not from Wales, right? I don't think so.
I'm not 100% sure.
But either way, last night, Toni Storm defended her championship against Saraya. This match was average at best. There was one sequence. I know it made the rounds on social media, but there was one sequence in this match where they were like,
from Norwich,
England.
Norwich is it says English professional wrestler. So
Beauty.
Yeah.
All right. So the home continent with Toni Storm and Mariah May. This, to me, even though I feels like it's kind of cooled down a bit, even though last night was good. I liked what happened after the match last night. You do that heel turn the way they did it right away, and it was like the hottest thing in the world. And then I think it's kind of cooled down a bit since. I know they've been attacking each other, but it does feel like it's kind of
well, they didn't. The thing is that they haven't really they haven't like touched for the past few weeks.
Yeah,
it was just like video promos.
Yeah,
between the two of them.
But so Toni Storm has this match with Saraya last night. The match was whatever. Toni wins. And then after the match, we see Mariah May. She shows up with the shoe, hits Toni over the head with it, like a running smash with it. And then she kind of gets in the ring and she kind of holds Toni kind of in her lap, gives her a kiss on the forehead. And then Mariah May kind of got in the ring and kind of did the Toni Storm kind of shuffle while lying on the ring there.
Yeah.
And Mariah May leaves standing tall over the champion. To me, this is still the match I'm looking forward to the most, Drew. This is still the match that I think, even though they ramped up the other 2 stories and the 2 matches we have left to talk about, I thought last night was a good piece of business for both of those matches. I still feel like this is the best story because of the history of it and because of how they've kind of told this, even though it has cooled down a smidge. This match is going to be great, Drew.
Yeah.
This match is going to be really, really good.
I think Mariah May wins.
I do too. And I know the trope, usually if the challenger stands tall or whoever stands tall going into the pay-per-view usually loses. And I know Mariah May stood tall last night, but I think you got to pull it. You got to pull the trigger and you strap her with the bell. You go all the way with it and she takes it. She takes
now,
it. I could see Mina Shirakawa getting involved and then Jamie Hayter. This is where I could see Jamie Hayter coming back.
Because help.
Because I know. Yes, because I know Rampage was taped last week. We found that out. Shirakawa is on Rampage. So Shirakawa is in town. There's obviously the history with Mariah, Shirakawa, and Toni.
She was on TV last week.
She was. I think that Mariah wins. Ophelia, I agree with you. I don't know why that was I know why that was a title match last night. It was to get the hometown pop or the home country, home continent pop for Saraya, but I don't know why she had a title match last night. That does not make sense to me why that happened. But it happened, and it was really a nothing match. It wasn't even, for Toni Storm standards, it wasn't even, in my opinion, that good. But it was fine. It was fine. So I could see Shirakawa getting involved in helping Mariah May win the belt, or maybe even after Mariah wins it fair and square, Shirakawa comes down and they start kind of beating down Toni. And then we could see a Jamie Hayter return, and then at All Out, you have a tag match with these 4. I could see that happening. Now, I know Jamie Hayter's last match was a loss to Toni Storm for the title. I get that. But they have a history together.
It's been over a year.
It's been a long time. Hayter and Storm have a good history together before that. I could see this being the potential return scenario for Jamie Hayter. Obviously, the Britt stuff makes way more sense, but from what we've heard, that might not be happening. And if they're not going to do that because of personal things, I think there's another opportunity to do the Jamie Hayter return here. Kind of Tony's going to need a friend. They're in Jamie's home country. They have a history together. It would make sense. It would make sense for this to be a potential Jamie Hayter situation as well. After the match, though. I think this is afterwards, kind of setting up All Out or whatever. But I agree with you. I think Mariah May should win this match and take the belt. I think that's what it should be. And then you kind of see where it goes from there. But this match is going to be real good. Real good. And I think it's going to be brutal. Like, I think this is going to be more of a grudge match fight than I think this match is going to be pretty brutal.
Yeah.
You don't have a heel turn like that and Tony's that blood, like this is going to be a brutal fight. Like, I think this is going to be brutal, but it's going to be great. All right. We are down to our last two matches of the evening. I thought the segment of the night last night was Will Ospreay and MJF. I thought this was spectacular. Well, there you go. Well, Scott's saying that Saraya said she never got her mandated rematch for the title. But Johnny does make mandated rematch. I was going to say, AEW. Johnny makes a good match. AEW has always said they do not do mandatory rematches. So if Saraya said that somewhere, fine, but that's bullshit. That is a bullshit reason because that is not. Yeah. AEW has always been vocal that they don't do that. So I don't know if Saraya forgot which company she was working. I don't know, but something happened there. This segment last night between MJF and Will Ospreay was excellent. Obviously Will Ospreay, the home country, the home continent hero. That crowd was lit for Will Ospreay. Oh, you could see how much he was enjoying it, kind of rounding them up a little bit more and getting them more rowdy. And then MJF comes out, booed to the gills, which you would expect. They go back and forth. Will Ospreay had a couple good one-liners. You know, he says, "Oh, it took you 4 years." I don't disagree, but I thought it was well. I thought it was well done. But I love the line where Will Ospreay says, "Hey, it took you 4 years to win them over, and it took me 4 beats of my song," which was really good. They kind of go back and forth of like, you know, Will Ospreay says that Toni called him to say, "Hey, can you come?" Like Will Ospreay's like, "I wasn't even working here, dude. I wasn't even here yet." And Toni called me and was like, "Hey, can you come do a match for me? Because I can't rely on my world champion." And Ospreay is leaning in saying, "Hey, we all knew what was going on. We all knew what was going on. We knew that another company was being created for people like us who love pro wrestling. And then guess what? We tuned into All In last year and we didn't see a wrestling match for a main event. We saw a hokey two best friends dancing with each other," or whatever the exact verbiage was. And that was, to be fair, that was a lot of criticism last year when MJF was the world champion, that a lot of the stuff they were doing was very WWE sports entertaining like, and not what AEW had originally kind of set themselves up to be, which was more of a pro wrestling based wrestling show. So I did like how they went into that. I thought Ospreay killed it here. He said, you go to England, ask them who the best wrestler in the world is. They say Ospreay. You go to Japan, they say Ospreay. Australia, North America, they say Ospreay. They don't say you. And then MJF, you know, MJF has his comebacks as well. I don't know if you have any of them written down, or I have the notes over here, but MJF has his typical MJF comebacks. But the one thing is when MJF kind of loses it, and commentary did a really good job of saying, "Oh, I think he said what's supposed to stay inside, outside." And he goes, "They all loved me till you showed up." So now that right there, tells you the origin story of why MJF came back and why he's going after Will Ospreay, because in MJF's mind, Ospreay is the reason why nobody likes him anymore, why the fans turned on him, because this guy showed up and took all his fans away. Love it. Love it. Yeah. Really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed and then MJF kind of does this thing towards the end here where he takes it to a personal aspect,
Of course.
where he says, "Hey, I was talking to your wife earlier," and then he goes, "Hey," and Ospreay's like, "Yo, don't," and he goes, "No," and MJF goes, "No, I'm about to put you over, kid. Like, relax. I'm about to put you over." And then he starts talking about how Ospreay's kid is a step kid. His wife had that with a previous relationship. And then it was admirable. MJF's even leaning in like, that's admirable. That's admirable that you would take on like that. But then MJF leans in. He goes, "But I get the feeling from talking to your wife tonight that the next child she has ain't going to be yours either." Ooh. Oh, man. That was good.
Ugh.
And then Ospreay, which I loved, you could see in Ospreay's face that he wants to knock MJF's head off. But he calmly turns around and he looks at the table. He goes, "Shivani, you got Tony Khan?" "Yeah, so-called kid," he called it. Yeah. He goes, you got Tony Khan in your ear?" And Shivani goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "How much is it if I knock this guy's head off right now?" Or whatever the line he said was. "How much is it if I knock him between the eyes?" And Tony Khan says, 100,000 pounds, which would equal like, I think he said $127,000.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What it was. And then MJF is in the background just going like, "You're not going to do it. 100K? No way. You're not doing it." And Ospreay kind of is like, "Ah." And he goes to the corner. He looks at the crowd and the crowd's like, "Fucking hit him. Hit him." And he goes, "It's worth it." And he just fucking clocks MJF, takes him into the corner. He's beating him down a bit. Security was surrounding the ring. They get in the ring immediately. They're breaking it apart. And as they're doing this, MJF is pulling the diamond ring out of his hand and putting it on. And once they kind of get separated, MJF just charges and hits Ospreay over the head with the ring. Ospreay is busted open. They separate MJF. He tries to go back. They get MJF out of there. And the segment kind of ends with Ospreay laid out. Yes.
Pivotal moment in
yes.
this. MJF was putting him up in the Tiger Driver.
Oh, that happened. Yes, and that's what happened. Yes.
And the security stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest overarching point in the promo, aside from Ospreay is the reason why MJF isn't loved by the fans, is one of the biggest things was, I take the shot, you're afraid to take the shot.
Correct. I do what it takes to get where I need to go. You do not. You do not.
So that means that the Tiger Driver is going to be a big talking point.
And we even saw it
point in the match.
100%. And we even saw it later on. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Bryan Danielson next. But before the final segment, Renee was in the trainer's room with Ospreay, asking, he was still dry blood and all. And she asked him, "Hey, can you talk about earlier?" And before he could say anything, Danielson walks in the room and he goes right in Ospreay's face and he goes, "Hey, I saw what happened out there. I saw what he said to you." And he didn't mention the Tiger Driver. He didn't mention it, but you know what he's talking about. And he just goes, "Do it." And he repeats it 2 or 3 times. He goes, "Do it." And he just leaves the room. So I think,
I'm doing the Shia
LaBeouf. Do it. But that's what Danielson said. So Danielson really, before his last segment, which we're going to talk about, but Danielson basically went in there and told Ospreay, "Hey, dude, like, this is me giving you permission. Fucking do it. Do it and beat him. Hit the fucking move and win the belt. Like, do it." And I thought that was a really good...
Also, Kyle Fletcher a few weeks back was like, "MJF, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
He's the one you do this move on."
Correct. And I think MJF is the perfect guy for Ospreay to kind of snap out of it and do the move to, and then kind of bring it back as a move of it. Like, I think Danielson is the guy that he hurt, which is why he stopped doing the move. And then you have Danielson in your face saying, "Forget about me. Forget about what happened to me. Do it. Just do the move, man. Win the match. Do the move." And I just thought it was a really good It was really
For
good.
those who don't know, and I mean, there's some audio.
How do you
listeners,
not
I
know
would
the
imagine,
Shia
too.
LaBeouf "Do It" thing at this point?
You've got to know that "Just Do It" from
Yeah,
Shia
how
LaBeouf.
do you not? How do you not? But yeah, no, I thought that little thing of Danielson being the one to get in there and be like, dude, I know what you did it to me. Do it. Like, just do it. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was really good. And you could see in Ospreay's eyes that he was like, all right.
That was what I needed.
Yeah, probably going to do it now.
Now I'm going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. If you got the guy that you hurt, which is the reason why you don't do it, telling you, F that dude, do it. Like, fucking do the move. Okay, that might be what you need. This match is going to rule. I mean, there's no way. Come on.
Who do you have
classic.
winning this match?
I think Ospreay's winning, to be honest with you.
Nice that you think that.
See, this one, and oddly enough, the main event are the two that I am torn the most on. I could see this one in particular. I could see this going either. Like, I'm not confident. Like, I'm doing that pick show on Saturday. This might be because they do the confidence one. There's 10 matches. 10 is your most confident. You could do points. You know what I mean? Like that. This could be my 1 or 2. I am not confident in who's winning this match. I do think Ospreay is going to hit the Tiger Driver on MJF in England with the crowd going fucking bananas. And I think he's going to win. Because I think MJF is heading towards the world title. He has to. It's MJF. And I think that's where he's going. I think you might be. Are you going different? Are you thinking that MJF retains? It's fair.
I think MJF retains. And I'm going to tell you why MJF retains. Because what I just mentioned a couple weeks ago, Kyle Fletcher.
Oh, yeah.
MJF beats down Kyle Fletcher to a bloody pulp.
Yep.
Well, Ospreay couldn't get to him in time because his room door was blocked.
By MJF, supposedly. I think it could be Don Callis who did that. But anyway, continue.
Kyle Fletcher is talking about the move.
And
he says, if there's anybody else in the world who deserves to be hit with that move, isn't it that guy? And he's pointing to his left. And out of that same direction that he's pointing enters Don Callis. I think MJF pays off Don Callis to help him win.
It's possible.
I think because Don hasn't been around Will this as
I was going to say there's been a little bit of distance.
Maybe Kyle comes out or someone comes out. Probably Don himself. I'm thinking of like, what's the reason for Don to be ringside when he's not been associated with Ospreay? And I think that the little moment between Ospreay and Danielson is what does it. That gives him the reason to go back down there and be like, yeah, listen to Danielson. Do it. Because there's going to be, I'm sure it's not going to be the first time. You know, he's going to be like, go to do the move. And then he's going to be like, oh, wait. And MJF is going to take advantage of the distraction. And then he's going to take it later on. But I think that it's going to be Don out there egging him on, saying, do the move, listen to Danielson. And then he does the move, pins MJF, 1, 2, Don Callis takes MJF's foot, puts it on the rope.
It's possible.
That's going to lead to a major heat moment. And MJF retains. now we get the fledged Don Callis family, Will Ospreay stuff. Kyle Fletcher has to, battle. It's like, oh, I've been with Don, but now my close friend Will is in the crosshairs here.
Yeah.
So I think MJF wins because of Don Callis causing Ospreay to lose. So it's not really, it's more that Ospreay, because the whole thing with Ospreay and I know I'm over, they're not doing all this for no
It does
reason.
sound very, to me, it does sound like and again, AEW does it. It sounds like this would be overbooking big time to me. I understand what you're saying.
But it's not like it hasn't happened before.
No. What do we think about MJF winning with the Tiger Driver? He tried to hit it on Wednesday. See, the thing for me is I understand what you're saying because Will is not, he left the Callis family, but we really haven't had that. What you would expect the Callis family to do to somebody who fucking leaves them is, torture them and ruin them on the way out till you go through all of them. We haven't seen that with Will.
The rules of a classic mafia family is once you've been taken in, you don't go out.
You don't go out on your terms. You don't go out on your terms.
You don't just get to decide. By the way, I'm just leaving now.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I do think if MJF wins, he's going to win because of bullshit. Like he's not just going to win fair. I don't think. It's true. It's a true story. I don't know. I think that's why I'm most torn about this match of all of them. I'm like, man, either of these guys can win.
And you know what? It could not even be Don Callis himself. It could be.
What about Will
maybe
Hobbs? Well, we have Scott saying Will Hobbs. Like, what if?
Well, right.
Or what if Fletcher comes out to try to help Will and he fucks up and he helps MJ? Like, there's a lot of things that can go on here.
Ooh.
What if Fletcher comes out? Because Fletcher's been the guy that's been helping Will or trying to, fighting for his buddy. What if he comes out, tries to super kick fucking Will, misses? No, that would be the other way around. Tries to super kick MJF, misses.
No.
Or maybe Fletcher is the one who turns heel on Ospreay because where the fuck were you when I was getting my ass kicked by this guy? Friend.
Yep.
And then
that's what's going to fucking happen.
Because when Will, and I said it earlier when we first started talking about this, everyone assumed that it was MJF that locked Will in the office. What if it was Don Callis? What if it was Don Callis to set this up because Don Callis doesn't want Kyle Fletcher being fucking friends with Will Ospreay anymore? Because that does no good to Don Callis.
You are a genius. You are a genius.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying, right?
It makes the most sense for Fletcher to be out there.
And that would lean into what you're saying of Don Callis and MJF kind of having an arrangement, because we could find out that this whole thing was planned between MJF and Callis. And that MJF said, hey, you're the one that's going to lock Will in there, but he's going to think that I'm doing it. I'm going to fuck up his friend. And then his friend is going to start questioning Will about why didn't my friend help me? And then you get what you want because they're not going to be friends anymore. And that helps you. And then I get what I want. I'm winning the belt and keeping the belt. And then it all is this giant thing. And then you can get back to Fletcher figuring it out down the line, and you can do that later. But I think we haven't seen Fletcher since the beatdown, correct? Like he hasn't been on television.
Since that promo.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in my brain, that's where I would go more than Don Callis being the one who physically gets involved. Because Don Callis, like you said, has kept his distance from this for the most part. He's only been down there when Kyle has been there.
Involved.
You know?
Yeah.
Involved. So that would make more sense to me of some chicanery and bullshit. If it's Kyle, that is the one that ends up, whether it's by accident or on purpose, that is the one where I'm like, I think Kyle is the one that gets involved. And then you could do killed it. Yep, there you go. And then you have a big time match because Kyle Fletcher is fucking really good. Really, really good. And you have Ospreay and Fletcher one-on-one at All Out. And then MJF can go against Pac, which is what I would assume is going to happen. You would do MJF and Pac for the International American title because Pac is owed that. That happens at All Out. And then you have a big-time match with Fletcher and Ospreay at All Out. That's the way that I think. I don't disagree. I mean, I am picking Ospreay still, but as you know, I'm torn. But if anything's going to happen along the lines of what you're saying, I think it would make more sense and be more likely that Kyle would be the one that is involved. Don't get me wrong. Callis is working the puppet strings, but Kyle's the guy.
See, because they haven't even mentioned that whole thing.
No.
The Kyle versus MJF and MJF trying to take him out.
Exactly. Which makes me think Kyle is going to show up during this match, and it's going to be like, oh, this Kyle Fletcher, we assume he's out here to support his friend, Will Ospreay.
But
and then it'll be like,
screw over his friend.
And then it will be like, oh, no, he fucked his friend, Will Ospreay, over. And then you kind of find out that I couldn't get to you. It was MJF locked the door. I couldn't get to you. You saw I couldn't get to you. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. Who locked up? And then you find out it was fucking Don Callis who did it. And then it's just this full circle, like, oh. And then maybe Fletcher is angry at Ospreay because of that. And then down the line, like after they've already fought a few times, we find out that it was Callis that locked Ospreay on there, and that makes Fletcher down the line.
That's what I would
with Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would be the one thing that would go, ooh, We'll see though. But we just created some good booking right there. We did some good booking right there. There you go. Thank you, Toni. Hey, look it. 2 weeks ago, we were bitching and moaning about why the Acclaimed hadn't had their title match yet. Guess what happened on the following Dynamite? They had their title match. I think there was something else. We didn't have a show last week, but there was something else recently that we were talking about on these airwaves. And guess what happened? I think it was on the WWE side. I forget what it was. But we've talked about a few things on this show.
Right.
And they've happened immediately. So listen, I'm not saying that big people are listening and watching this show, but what I am saying is that big people are listening and watching this show. All right. So we have our main event. It is title versus career. It is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Swerve Strickland, taking on the American Dragon and what many think could potentially be his last match. Obviously, if he loses, it is. But a lot of people in real, not in story, in real, think this could be it, Drew. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. Last night, the main event segment after the match, real good. Swerve was being heel, Swerve. And I'm going to tell you, Drew, I have been very adamant that I thought Hangman should have won the tournament, and this main event at All In should be Hangman and Swerve. I still feel that way. However, this promo that Bryan Danielson cut last night, goddamn, man. That was the first time I felt something, like really felt something from Bryan Danielson in a while. When he said, hey, you know what? People throw this around. I usually don't say it, but I'm going to say what you know, what I know, what everybody knows. I'm the best fucking wrestler in the world. And the crowd went absolutely bonkers. Sinner, I agree with you. He is the perfect guy where depending on who he's fighting, he can be the heel or the good guy, and the crowd just goes with him either way. Doesn't matter. He could beat. We're going to talk about who we think, but if he beats Danielson, let's just say he beats Danielson on Sunday, and then we find out it's him and Hangman at All Out in 2 weeks. Swerve will be a babyface the next 2 weeks on AEW television, and the fans won't bat an eye. even though they've been booing him for a week and a half because of Danielson. The fans wouldn't bat an eye. They would immediately start cheering for that guy again. Immediate.
So
incredible.
Something interesting. I saw Sean Ross Sapp tweet out a few minutes ago. Oh, not a few. Well, it was like almost an hour ago now. Last night, Danielson was wearing a flannel shirt.
It was the same flannel shirt that he wore for his retirement. It was
Not
very
the same
similar.
Shirt,
I thought it was the same.
It's got the same colors.
Yeah, I was gonna say very similar
to the one that he retired in the ring at Raw
yes.
that time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting callback there.
I thought it was the same one. I guess it's just the same colors, like you said, but I thought it was the same.
There's a side by side image.
Yeah, so a little bit different pattern. Yeah.
But it's got two of the colors from that shirt in it. So it's like, I didn't catch that earlier last night. He's got to win. He's got to win.
After last night, I feel like he's gonna. I'm torn on this one too. I honestly don't know. I feel you. I agree with you. I do like seeing him not humble and saying like, I'm the best
fucking dragon.
Yeah, and I thought that was two perfect F-bombs because it was taped. They could just figure it out nice and easy. Edit it nice and easy so there's not that weird silence that happens when it's on live television. Like it was the perfect use of some F-bombs. He is the American fucking dragon. He is the best wrestler in the fucking world. And he's going for the AEW championship. Drew, I know where your heart lies. I assume you're picking with your heart, although you said earlier, I assume you're picking Danielson.
I have to pick him because he is my favorite wrestler. I have to pick him because I need him to be, maybe he won't be champion by the time they come to Grand Slam. I don't know what happens at All Out.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to see him hold that title one time in this company. I have said it for a long time now. We've been doing this show for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Danielson not being a champion in this company is promotional malpractice. I don't care if he doesn't want to be champion. He has to be champion. One time. Especially if you're going to retire for good and not come back to wrestling. I mean, we don't know if 100% that's true. But, retirement, what is a retirement truly in wrestling? I mean, Sting's was, I think, a legitimate retirement, but it's gotta happen one time. Please, for the love of God, it's gotta happen one time. And plus, Wrestle Dream is in Washington.
Yeah, that's what Ophelia said.
Yeah, Ophelia.
I find it hard to believe his last match won't be at home.
It's where he retired the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes all the sense in the world that's where he retires last. Maybe if he wins the title, Swerve just says,
he said it last night.
Says,
"Oh God,
fuck it, I'm just gonna fight you anyway at All Out." And Hangman and Swerve fight at All Out because Hangman just wants to fucking get his hands on Swerve.
Yeah,
and then they decide, the stipulation will be the winner of that match gets Danielson at Wrestle Dream. Or they do Hangman comes down to interfere for Swerve, not to interfere for anybody, but just to interfere and attack Swerve. Danielson wins as a result. Then Hangman gets Danielson at All Out.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve interferes at All Out, Wrestle Dream becomes a triple threat between the three of them.
Good. I think it would make sense for both Washington guys to be in them, you know? Swerve mentioned it last night. We're two Washington boys, like, you know.
Right, yeah.
So, I mean, if Wrestle Dream is in Washington and it is going to be Brian's last match, like, obviously, Brian could have a lot of last matches with a lot of people. But I think it would be fitting in Washington for him to main event the show in his last match against another Washington guy. I think that would be kind of cool and kind of fitting if they did bring it back with whatever happens on Sunday, that it is Swerve and him again. I would obviously not be opposed to a
There's also
triple threat. Is there also the chance that Swerve just wins on Sunday? There has to be, right?
There is, but I don't want it. I mean, I
Swerve
do.
can win on Sunday, right? And then maybe the last match at Wrestle Dream is Danielson versus Swerve again. And maybe he wins the title at Wrestle Dream and then retires a champion like we saw Sting do. Not that I want that to become a trope for AEW. I don't. But I know Wembley is the big... look at I think Danielson is winning on Sunday.
Well, no, Johnny, I wasn't saying that the main event of All In would be a DQ. It would just be that, you know, maybe Hangman gets involved in a way where maybe, you know, Nana will be down there. Maybe the referee is distracted by Prince Nana, and then Hangman
that could happen. Yeah.
Comes in and hits. Maybe he hits Swerve with the buckshot, and then scurries out of the ring. And then, you know, Danielson didn't see that either. Maybe he's down. You know, they can do it that way where Danielson doesn't realize that Hangman just caused an interference for him to win, and then he just gets the victory.
The big problem for me is, and again, they moved it next year, so All In will be in July, so there'll be some separation,
and it won't be in Wembley.
That is true.
It's going to be All In.
Yeah, it's going to be Texas, and there's going to be separation. But like, I felt the same thing last year, where when I was going into picking these matches, the fact that there's another pay-per-view 2 weeks after this is always in the back.
Last week it was 1 week after.
Yeah, last year it was a week later. Where that is always in the back of my mind of like, okay, who do I think is going to win this match? Because literally 2 weeks from now, they're going to have to do something. There's going to have to be a rematch, or they're going to be thrusted in, you know? Like, I would be shocked if the world title isn't defended at All Out in 2 weeks. So if Danielson wins on Sunday, who the hell is he? Is it just a rematch in 2 weeks, or no? Or do they do the winner of the gauntlet gets it in 2 weeks, and that's how they go about it? Oh, all right, Danielson won, so he gets the winner of the gauntlet at All Out, and then we figure out Wrestle Dream after.
I think I
think that's probably the way to do it, right? Because did the casino gauntlet specifically say World Championship at All Out, or did it just say Future World Championship?
No, I believe it's just Future World Championship.
That should be at All Out. It should be at All Out. If they win it on Sunday, it should be at both fight.
So if it's Hangman that wins, then I say, yeah, definitely it's All Out.
You can't pick and choose, though. That's not fair. I think
I'm just saying because the winner should be the one that decides when they want.
Oh, I think it should just be we got a pay-per-view in 2 weeks. That's where your fucking matches.
Because why isn't Pac facing MJF at All In?
Because he doesn't have the choice.
But he has the international title.
He does, but they already made the Ospreay match, which is why the promo that he cut a couple weeks ago, he was like angry, like, what the hell? I'm the number one contender. I should be fighting it All In, but you already did this. So guess what? At All Out, I'm getting the winner.
Right. So I can easily see, depending on who wins the gauntlet match, if it's not Hangman and it's the winner, whoever the winner is, whether it be Ricochet or whomever else.
What about a returning John Moxley? And we get Moxley and Danielson.
I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate that at all.
They have a
that match. And so
Could
here's
be
my
it all
thing.
out.
Maybe. I feel like if Hangman wins the gauntlet,
Yeah.
he's choosing All Out,
He
100%.
has to. But does it matter who wins the world title for Hangman? Because I think it does.
I think it does, but this is why I think, because I liked Sinner's thing of Jeff Jarrett costing Hangman.
Yes. And then they fight it all out while the champion does something else or whatever.
Yeah, because they can't just let the Jeff Jarrett thing go.
No. I do think Jarrett and Hangman there will be something that happens with them during that match, because I would assume Jeff Jarrett will be in that match or get involved. Right. I think he'll just be in it, but there will be something happening between Hangman and Jeff Jarrett at All In on Sunday. I'm pretty confident in that.
So because of that, whoever is going to be the winner. So you know what? I forgot about the Jeff Jarrett thing. So the Jeff Jarrett thing would tie up Hangman for All Out.
If it were to happen.
If it happens. There's so many ifs. That's the thing. There's like, is this going to happen? What if this happens? What if that happens? So, and I like that. I like having so many scenarios be possible here. Does Hangman win? Does he not win? Does he get involved? Does he not get involved in the main event? What sets the stage for the All Out main event? What happens for Wrestle Dream? What happens beyond? I feel like if Hangman doesn't win the gauntlet, whether it's Jeff Jarrett that interferes or not, I think the anger of him not winning causes him to do the thing that I say in the main event, because he's been seeing that that Swerve desperately needs to beat Danielson. And if it's looking like he's going to beat Danielson, he needs to put a stop to it. So he comes out, he interferes, Danielson wins. Maybe they don't do a Jeff Jarrett thing. Maybe Jeff Jarrett's comeuppance is not in a match. It's that he costs Hangman the match, the gauntlet match.
Maybe.
And then Swerve is pissed off now, not because he lost, but because Hangman was involved. So the two of them face each other at All Out.
Good.
There's just so many things, but I feel like a really fun thing would be for the gauntlet winner to challenge at Grand Slam.
And that is between All Out and Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream. Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I could tell you right now.
I could see if it's like a Ricochet or it's somebody else. I could see that. When you have a match on a card that is 2 weeks before another pay-per-view, and one of the matches is for the number one contendership, I feel like it would just make sense that that's the match at All Out.
Now that's a problem. I'm looking also, I was like, oh, wait a minute, there's also Title Tuesday.
No.
Coming up. But the problem now this is really fucked up, because Grand Slam is September 25th.
Okay.
Wrestle Dream is October 12th. So that's 3 weeks.
2.5, 3 weeks in between those.
But guess what's right before Wrestle Dream? Title Tuesday.
Title Tuesday to me is basically Battle of the Belts. Nothing significant will happen.
But it's gonna be a big show because it's going head to head with NXT.
And that's the first. Is that the first live week of NXT on the CW?
Second.
So that's the one they were in St. Louis with Randy, right? Randy Orton was there.
Right.
Which we could be seeing we've already gone over today on literally, just so everyone knows, after the show on Tuesday, Drew and I were like, hey, man, this is great. We love doing this show, but we got to stop rambling so much because we keep on going over 2 hours, and we actually need to be closer to an hour and a half or an hour and 45.
Well, that's next week.
And now we're at 2:15 because guess what? Drew and I just like to ramble. That's what we do. We get on these tangents, and that's just how we do. That's what we're here for. So it's just kind of like, I'm like, oh, because I do want to, I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, I want to talk about one more thing, but we've already gone for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's like, oh, goddamn, but.
Yeah, next week is when we have to do the hour and a half to 2 hour thing. So,
but the people are going to be like, we like your rambling, and we're going to be like, sorry, guys.
It doesn't mean we're not going to continue rambling, but unfortunately, my shoot job away from wrestling goes back to the building.
Yeah, and I'm never going back to a shoot job until I'm broken on the street. So I've already decided I'm never working ever again. So I'm just going to sit here and slowly waste through all my money until I'm either on the street or gone. So that's what we're going to do. I did want to bring up one quick thing. Let's limit it to 5 minutes here, Drew. Thank you all for the compliments of the good show and the great discussion.
The show's not over yet.
The show's not over. All right. So actually, no. So you're picking Bryan Danielson. I am also going to pick Bryan Danielson.
Wow. Okay.
Again, I've never been anti Bryan Danielson. I know he's one of the goats.
I didn't say it like that because of that. I just said it because for weeks now you have said.
I've been angry. It should not be Danielson in this match. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry. Do I think Bryan Danielson is deserving of a heavyweight title match at All In? Of course. But the match is Swerve and Hangman. And it should have always been Swerve and Hangman. And I will say that till the end of time. However, I don't see this Sunday being Bryan Danielson's last match. Once they put the title versus career on it, I was like, Danielson's winning. That's how I kind of felt about it, because I do think, obviously, Bryan Danielson's career is coming to an end soon. But I do not believe it'll be this Sunday. I think we're getting to Wrestle Dream with Bryan Danielson. And the only way for that to happen is if Bryan Danielson wins the belt on Sunday, because it is title versus career. I guess if he won the match via DQ and didn't win the belt, would that technically count? That's where I'm at. I feel you. I would have been picking Swerve all the way through, but once the career's on the line, changed everything for me. So I'm going to pick Danielson. But I don't think he's going to hold it long. I think he's losing it at Wrestle Dream by the latest.
Wrestle Dream, probably.
Yeah, the latest. So, but yeah. But I did want to bring up, because, obviously now we do the Firmly WWE thing. We were just talking about AEW going head-to-head with NXT. Well, over the last 24 hours or so, there has been strong rumor on the interwebs that Ricky Starks might be heading to NXT, and maybe sooner than we all think, as in No Mercy, a week and a half. Because there were some people, and I don't know if
when is No Mercy?
Next Sunday. No, the Sunday after next, the 7th. So 2 weeks from Sunday.
Okay.
And I don't know if Sean came out and I thought Sean came out and said no one really knows. It's a lot of foggy area, but there were some people that know their shit. I will say, not just some
I can tell you where it came from.
Not some just random jamoke, but there were people on Twitter yesterday that were saying that some people think that Ricky's contract is already even up.
Did you see where this originated from?
No.
There was a Twitch stream of a friend of Ricky Starks.
A real friend, though? Or is it just a fucking guy saying he's is it legitimate?
I don't know. know. But
I could go on a stream later and say, hey, man, I'm friends with this guy. He said this. And some people will be like, I believe that.
But the way that it was worded was like, oh, like it didn't seem like it was like a staged thing or like something that you didn't know.
Yeah.
But I listened to it, and the guy is like in a gym, and then he's talking to like I don't know what language they're speaking. He's speaking to this guy. He's not speaking English. It might be Russian or something. And he was like, oh, yeah, you want to meet this guy downstairs, Ricky Starks. He's jumping from AEW to WWE soon.
Well, yeah. I mean, that right there, to me, though, is not news breaking to me. because
It's not that
everybody has kind of known that that's probably going to happen for a while now.
It wasn't right. It's not that he was saying it to break news.
Yeah,
He's
he just
not a
kind of
news
said it
breaker.
like, "Oh, this is happening soon," kind of thing.
And everyone took that from that live stream, and that's where the heavy rumors started yesterday because of that live stream.
Got it.
So, I know that that's happening. Like that, I've accepted now that Ricky Starks is not an AEW anymore. I have to now accept that the Lucha Bros aren't in AEW anymore. That kind of hurts because I really liked them in AEW a lot. But I'm gonna tell you something. The one that's really gonna stab me in the heart, and not because I'm not doing this in a tribalistic way. I just mean because I really feel like he is AEW personified. Daniel Garcia.
I think if anybody stays,
well,
I think if anybody stays in AEW, I think it would make the most sense for Garcia to stay in AEW.
It would, right? Which is why it's like
Of
if
all
it
of them.
doesn't happen,
Yeah,
that one's gonna hurt me personally.
Yeah.
Not in a like, oh, how dare he leave? Just in because I wouldn't be seeing it as how dare Daniel Garcia leave AEW. I would be seeing it as how dare Tony Khan let Daniel Garcia leave AEW.
Yeah.
Like you throw a blank check at that guy and you say, here's the pen.
Yeah.
You write
what
it
do you
down.
want? Yeah. Yeah.
And I will treat you right. And I will book you properly. Which I mean it's not like he was even getting booked not properly or not fairly treated. I mean, yes, obviously he won the Ring of Honor title. He's never won an AEW title.
Yeah.
But
he won the AEW. What are you talking about? Who are we talking about?
Daniel Garcia.
Oh, all right. Never mind. I thought we were still talking about Ricky for a second. I was like, he was a tag champ.
But like he was like making Collision he was like really like throwing AEW on his back for the last few television appearances before the MJF beatdown angle. So like I just don't want to. I want to see him continue in AEW. He'll do fine in WWE.
Oh yeah,
WWE.
Yeah.
But I have completely. And you know what, Johnny? Honestly, Daniel Garcia has more upside in AEW if he stays. I think Ricky Starks, as much as I really like him a lot, he is a genuine star in wrestling. He'll do better in WWE. And I
feel like he's built for WWE. I feel like he's the type of guy that is built for WWE. Garcia would do well anywhere as well. But I mean, look at the last angle they ran with Daniel Garcia. That's something that, again, I know that why they ran it because they don't know, or at the time, they knew he wanted to kind of test the waters out or whatever. But like the last time we saw him, he was getting written off television by MJF. We didn't even talk about Daniel Garcia's involvement potentially on Sunday either. We didn't. We just talked about Fletcher and all this other stuff. Last time I checked, the last 2 weeks we saw Daniel Garcia, he was involved right in the middle of this Will Ospreay MJF shit. It's really the reason this MJF
had originally agreed to fight him at All In.
Correct. And the whole reason this MJF Will Ospreay thing started was because of Daniel Garcia. So things we have to see. But all right, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you all for joining in the chat today. A good discussion about All In and AEW and kind of going in all different angles. There are should be a good show on Sunday. There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of maybe this will happen, maybe that'll happen. But one thing I think will happen is we are in store for some wonderful afternoon wrestling, maybe even morning wrestling, depending on where you are in the world. But it should be a great show. You can see Drew and I right back here on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m.
It's a shame the show is ending because I wanted to ask. Well, before we do the spiel, Asian Joe said, is he adding Johnny that he thinks that Starks should stay more than Garcia in AEW? Is that what he meant by that? Because I want to know why he thinks that, if that's the case. I'm
He thinks
genuinely
what?
interested in that. So Asian Joe just said he added Johnny and said Starks due to wrestling style and persona. Now, is he responding to the "Who would you rather stay" comment? Because I would genuinely want to know why Asian Joe thinks that.
You think he's saying that? You think Asian Joe is saying that he thinks Starks should stay? Oh no, there we go.
Oh,
Joe
okay.
just said, yeah.
Got
I think we're all in
okay.
agreement there that Daniel Garcia, of the two, if we had to pick, I'd rather them both just stay, to be honest. But if we had to pick, I do think Garcia is more. Not that age matters, but he's younger. I think if you want to pick somebody, if you're AEW and you have to pick out of the two, I think you're picking Garcia. He's younger. You've done more to establish him as a character over the last year to year and a half, where the other guy has barely been on television. You've involved him with Will Ospreay and MJF the last time we saw him, who are the two biggest stars you have. It makes more sense.
I'm going to say something right now that's going to sound tribalistic, but I don't mean it this way. And if you take it that way, fine. But just know that that's not my intention. Daniel Garcia has always felt like an AEW guy.
Yeah. Ricky Starks. Yeah, I think I know what you're going to say. He's felt like he went to AEW just to get to WWE. That's what it felt like. Not in that way, but like he was in the NWA. Not everybody knew who he was, but they knew he was good. Well, he went to AEW. His profile raised. Everyone then found out, holy shit, this guy's really, really good. But he's always seemed like a WWE. Like the way he presents himself, the way he does everything, it's always felt more sports entertaining.
So let me finish.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to. So you thought I was going to say Daniel Garcia, AEW guy, Ricky Starks, WWE guy.
Yeah, I did.
That's not actually what I was going to say.
Oh.
I feel like when it comes to the two of them, Daniel Garcia feels and gives off his energy, his aura, AEW guy.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Starks, I feel, is a Cody guy.
It's fair.
And listen, whatever happened with Cody and AEW, I don't know if we'll ever really know the actual details of what happened there. Cody does put over AEW. He does say good things about it and everything. But as much as I really like Ricky Starks, and I've not heard anything bad about Ricky Starks as a person, and I don't feel that he's a bad person either. I feel like, and within some reason, I feel like he feels like he was wronged by AEW because of certain things that have happened. Maybe Tony Khan's not best boss type of tactics when it comes to running AEW. The thing that happened with CM Punk. The most recent kind of thing that happened in that Adam Copeland promo where he just kind of like went off on him unscripted about him being like The Rock and everything. Like I feel like there's just a lot of negativity with Ricky Starks and AEW. And I think that because he's such good friends with Cody, I honestly feel like as soon as Cody left, Ricky Starks checked out. Ricky Starks has not felt like an AEW guy for me for a while.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. He hasn't been. When did they lose the belts to FTO? Last fall? Right? Wasn't it? Beginning of this year, last fall. Like, when did they lose the title belts?
It was late last year, yeah.
He hasn't been on television barely, like literally, since.
Maybe they did one rematch, I think.
Yeah.
And that
hasn't been there. So you got a guy like that, and you're openly, whether it's he does have an attitude and Tony's like, fuck you, I'm not you, whatever it is, you got a guy like that just sitting there not being used. Like, yeah, I agree with you. He hasn't felt like an AEW guy in a long, long time.
Not that, and again, I know this sounded tribalistic. I'm not saying that everybody in AEW needs to feel like an AEW guy and everybody in WWE needs to feel like a WWE guy. I don't believe in that stuff. But there are people that you point to and you go, oh, that's like the aura of AEW or the aura of WWE. Daniel Garcia's aura is AEW.
Yeah.
And Ricky Starks is definitely not AEW.
Yeah, I agree.
You could say, the Acclaimed. Is the Acclaimed have an aura of AEW or WWE?
To me,
Yeah.
AEW.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you can go down the line of so many people. It's like there are just some people who is like the aura of a specific company. It's like they belong there. It's why Asian Joe asked the question: who has the biggest upside in AEW out of those two? 100% Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's what. Yeah. So that it sounded tribalistic, but I don't mean it that way. And if Ricky Starks happens to see this podcast somehow, just know that I did not mean that negatively. I just, because I understand a lot of things have happened behind the scenes. You weren't very happy about that. I wouldn't be happy about it if I were you either. The whole thing with CM Punk and him getting a big, his stock rising because of CM Punk, and then all of a sudden CM Punk's gone. Cody, same thing with Cody, and then they're both in WWE, and you're just sitting at home with an AEW contract, and nobody really cares about you. In the back, I'm talking about like top brass of the company, because they just see you as a Punk guy or an AEW Cody guy. I get it. So I'm not saying it. And if he goes to WWE, good for him. I'm happy for him because he will do great things there. 100%.
100%. He could run NXT in a second. So it's good to kind of see that type of stuff. Johnny, I would, to each their own, watch what you like, but I would make an argument you should probably start watching WWE again now because the shit has been red hot for like 6 months.
Johnny, you're fairly new in the comments for our show, at least. I don't know if you do other Love Wrestling shows. I like you. You're cool. I'm gonna promise you this: you're gonna like WWE if you start watching, whether Ricky Starks is there or not. Because I can tell you from personal experience, this guy to my whatever direction this is that I'm pointing. This guy can tell you I was not a WWE guy before 2024.
Not at all. And I
The
was sitting here just going
this show exists.
Yeah.
Is because I was not watching WWE. Firmly AEW exists because this guy DM'd me and said, "Hey, you want to do an AEW show?" And I said, "Hell fucking yeah."
Yeah. And then Firmly AEW, Firmly WWE just started happening in the last month because over the last year we've been doing this, I've been telling Drew, hey, WWE's getting better. The booking's getting a little bit better. They're starting to like make new fresh stars. It's starting to get good. It's hot as hell. The stories are good.
And then the final boss came on the screen, and I was hooked ever since.
He started watching again, and then I kind of pestered him and said, hey, why don't we do a WWE version on Tuesdays if you're available? WWE's hot right now. People want to listen and talk WWE. Let's do it. So the whole reason this Firmly thing exists is, because of stuff
Wardlow,
like that.
That's another name I didn't even think about.
Yeah, where's he been?
Yeah, not with the.
Nope. We still see the Undisputed Era come out. It's really just the three of them now. But Adam Cole has popped in every so often. Where Wardlow had that world title match with Joe, and I feel like we haven't seen him since. And that was like at the beginning of the year, because Swerve won the belt in February. No, wait, did he win at Double or Nothing? No, did he win at Double or Nothing? Or did we? He had the first match of February and lost because it was the triple threat, right, with Hangman. The one in February.
Right.
So he won it all at Double or Nothing in May then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's had the belt since May. And Wardlow fought Joe in the spring, and he's been gone too. Wardlow showing up with Ricky. I mean, I don't know, man. All of a sudden, you got Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, Shawn Spears. And then if anybody else shows up, Yeah, Lexus King. You got all these guys, the Lucha Brothers potentially, even though I think they should go to the main roster immediately.
And of course, the top guy in the company, Cody Rhodes.
Cody, all of a sudden you look over there and it's like, okay, no, there we go. So, but all right, we got to get out of here now because now all of a sudden we're over 2.5 hours. So God bless. But we did over 2.5 hours both Tuesday and today. So thank you all for being engaged.
Johnny, if you don't want to watch WWE, just watch us at Firmly AEW.
Yeah, exactly. Firmly. Yeah, we'll be here on Tuesdays talking WWE. So you can get all your info from us if you don't want to watch it. But I do think if you gave it another chance, I do think you'd dig it. They're getting a lot better from all aspects. And we got a big pay-per-view coming from them next week that we're going to be talking about on Tuesday too. So Drew and I will see you on Tuesday at 10 a.m. for Firmly WWE. It will be a Bash in Berlin preview. I will see you a little bit later on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on this very channel. The Boss Man is coming on the show. Spencer Love will be joining us. We just had our biggest wrestling show in LPW history this past weekend at the West Edmonton Mall. So we're going to be talking a little bit of that, how that show came together, what it was like, all the stuff like that with the Boss Man. And then we're also going to be talking some All In and some WWE and some everything that happened this week in wrestling. So join Pluggo and myself tonight at 8 p.m. for the flagship here at Love Wrestling, Between Two Beards. But for Drew and I, we'll see you on Tuesday at 10 a.m. You can see where to find Drew right here at the Drew Nicholas. You can see where to find me right here at JPJ Loves Gaming. You can follow us on most or all social media platforms there. Drew, I think, just has Twitter. You just have Twitter? Is that it? So Drew just has Twitter. I have all the bells and whistles that you're used to everybody saying. But you can find me here, JPJ Loves Gaming. You can find Drew here at the Drew Nicholas. For Drew and for myself, we appreciate everybody today tuning in. And we appreciate all the love we're getting this week. A lot of views, a lot of love, a lot of thumbs ups. Appreciate you all. This has really been
genuinely.
It's really been good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It's really been good. Kind of the response we're seeing to these shows the last couple weeks. So we appreciate all you guys a lot. There is no show without you guys. So appreciate y'all. Me and Drew will see you bright and early Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. for Firmly WWE. But until then, enjoy All In, everybody. Peace out.